Is it fucking 6 o'clock yet? By the way,
I don't know.
That was on for a long time.
they just let those bells go, huh?
Somebody fell asleep at the.
Y'all enjoy that when you listen to this podcast. Really enjoy it. That's the real stuff.
We have a soundtrack in the background
The
right
Lord is with us. Think about the richness of the experience you're having today.
Oh, I
Right.
feel great, man. I couldn't be
So-
unhappy about this, man. I really appreciate you guys having us out big time.
I feel like I could be sitting at home drinking beer. I could be sitting here talking about beer, drinking beer. Same thing to me.
Yeah, that's why we do this, because we
all
pretty
good.
much were going to talk about beer anyway.
Yeah, it's all good. Beer is what we do, right? It's our passion.
What's the rye?
The rye is a 3711 beer. We brew it with 3711 is kind of one of my favorites. It's not as crazy as the Belgian ones. The DuPont beer, it can go multiple ways, but French Saison, you pretty much
It's pretty consistent. Yeah.
it's consistent, and I like that. It may not be as fruity as other ones, but
I always get
I'm okay
that
with
big black pepper.
I like the pepper.
Yeah.
The pepper and the spice. I thought that that would work well with a rye beer. So we brew that beer with, it's just a standard Saison, but instead of using wheat, we use rye.
Nice.
It's pretty simple. It's Pilsner malt, a bag of Wireman bag of Wireman rye per batch, so 55 gallons or 55 pounds, sorry. And we use a little of either some Munich 1 or aromatic, depending on what we have in stock. Usually aromatic for a little bit of color. And, it's a pretty simple beer. That's the latest batch we did. It varies a little bit from batch to batch because I like to make a little more lighter version in the summer. Little lower ABV. This is the winter brew. So it's technically not really finished yet. I mean, I've been starting kegging it, but I haven't bottled any of it yet. I think it's not quite there yet, but we've got it on at the tap room now, so that's what we call a Rowler fill.
It's pretty incredible
Rowler
actually
fill.
that you get
see what
that
you did
much.
there.
You get that much pepper without doing a step mash.
No step mash, yeah. We just do that one at 150 for 60 minutes. We can do a step mash, but we have to set up basically a second burner and run it through like a Blickman kettle because we just basically have a big cooler type of mash tun. No heat to it. So we can do step mash. I tend not to do it unless it's a beer I really want to focus on, like doing that kind of thing to it. But typically I don't do that.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hoppy Craftsmen. I'm Jeff.
I'm Nate.
I'm Chris.
We are here in beautiful Tombstone, Arizona. Lovely night, recording outside. We're here with John from
Rowley Farmhouse Ales, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
and Weedy from
Tombstone Brewing Company.
right
Nice.
on. We're breaking new ground here. We're doing kind of like a double hybrid 2 brewery podcast. So John, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about your brewery, what you do, where you're located?
Okay, I can do that. We're in Santa Fe, New Mexico, so obviously not in Tombstone, but we focus on sour Saison type of beers. We do an IPA also, Agent Scully. We can get into that a little bit later.
Yes.
For sure.
But that's our number one seller, weirdly. But it does have
that's not weird.
no. It has a farmhouse kind of a grain bill, a lot of oats. So I think it's legit. But yeah, besides that, we're relatively new. First year was this year. We celebrated in Labor Day was our first year anniversary. We've got about 45 oak barrels full of beer in our cellar. We have a bunch of wine barrels filled with Saison, mixed fermentation Saison. And a bunch of on the other side of the room, we've got a bunch of beers that are spirit barrel aged and that are aging right now. We've got an Oud Bruin in Woodford barrels. We've got a Flanders Red in some apple brandy and some other whiskey barrels. Got a bunch of that, so we've got a little bit more of that. We've got a Beer de Garde, which we call the Notorious BDG. That beer is in some apple brandy barrels right now. We're going to release that one fairly soon. We have to bottle it. We haven't bottled it yet, but we do all bottle conditioning on our big bottles, and the kegs are all forest carb. Some kegs get the sugar treatment, but not all of them.
Weedy, thanks for having us over here at Tombstone, man. Tell us a little bit about what you do here at the brewery.
So what we've got going on, we've been open for a year. We've been mostly known for IPAs in the last year, the hazy style IPAs, but we try not to box ourselves into a corner. The beer that I like to brew the most of is actually our German style Pilsner. We've got a pretty extensive barrel aging program started. We've got right now, I think 66, maybe 68 barrels in-house. We're doing some sours. We're doing some bourbon barrel stouts. We've got an old ale right now that's been fermented on oak, aged in oak, and then had more oak added to it. So we're trying to do a little bit of everything and just having a blast doing it.
Very cool. So we actually do kind of a segment of the show we started recently called the Rapid Round. It's just a bunch of quick questions. Usually it doesn't go very fast. But it's always fun to do.
With editing magic, though.
It's weird. John, we'll start with you. What was your gateway beer that got you into craft beer?
Oh, well, that's a long time ago. That was probably Sierra Nevada Pale Ale for me.
Excellent.
Long time ago. I was, I still am a Deadhead.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time
Nice.
on tour in parking lots with the Grateful Dead. And that was the beer we could get readily.
Nice.
Everyone had $2 pale ales
By the way,
in the lot. So
By the way, it is 7:00 and we are outside. So just so everyone's wondering why there's
It's 6
bell.
o'clock.
It's 6:00, okay. And that's why you can hear that sound.
yeah, that's kind of weird, but that's okay. The Lord is with us today.
yeah. So you're saying I'm sorry.
So the Weedy, what was your gateway beer then?
Yeah, that's right. We were at the Gateway Beers.
Spotted Cow from New Glarus.
Nice. Cream ales.
First beer I ever drank.
Really?
Nice. That's a good start.
That's a hell of a gateway beer.
yeah, that's a good start.
That's a good gateway beer.
It's so funny. We have actually, Sierra Nevada, definitely a lot of people, that's my gateway beer for sure, too.
Yeah, we get a
Okay.
lot.
And then
we get a lot of that
second
one.
New Glarus for sure, but not the same one. It's a different New Glarus, so it's pretty interesting to ask that question.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
The Spotted Cow, that was actually what got me into brewing. When I moved back to Alabama, I'd spent a summer in Wisconsin with the Drum and Bugle Corps marching. I was a trumpet player, and I got into it as a 16-year-old drinking Spotted Cow, and I went back to Alabama and went to my first keg party. I'd never had a light beer in my life, and did a keg stand with Bud Light. I thought there was something wrong with the keg. I lasted like 2 seconds.
What is this
It's
water?
like, what the fuck is this? And I
Awesome.
moved on. First F-bomb. Sorry, Mom. I moved on. I realized I was going to have to brew beer if I wanted to drink good beer in Alabama back then.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, Alabama had a lot of restrictions, right? I mean,
Yeah, 6.25% ABV limit.
Wow.
So, yeah,
All
I
right.
spent some time in Mississippi, and it's the same. The same kind of stuff. It was you couldn't serve bombers, you couldn't be over 6%. It was just there's dry areas, which is crazy to me still.
It's a lot better, but it's rough for breweries there. It's hard to exist as a production brewery in those states.
Wow.
The next one is, what is your moped beer? So what would be a beer that you're embarrassed to actually drink in front of your friends?
oh, it's got to be the Michelada. There's something about that beer. I drank it with this girl I used to date once. She was hot. God, I liked her in many ways. But yeah,
John's gonna need a moment.
need a moment.
Just looking reminiscent.
She used to drink the light ones, the Bud Light ones, and I hate to say it, but they're pretty good actually. I fucking hate Budweiser. Fuck you, ABI. But yeah. That's my moped.
That's your moped beer? Excellent.
Perfect.
I have no shame. I'll drink whatever I feel like.
Nice.
Very cool.
A classic brewer's
Yeah,
response.
Weedy's
Right?
good. Weedy's good.
The next one is, what is your deathbed beer, actually?
Oh,
Ooh, deathbed beer. Shit.
And if you want to pair it, like if you're actually in prison and then you're on death row for some odd reason, you get a meal with it, you do that as well.
That's
Oh yeah, it's getting
that's-
specific.
I know, right?
That's pretty specific. I don't know what I would say to that. I don't know. Maybe if they gave me a case of the Dre Fontenden 2011 Sharsbeat Creek,
Yeah.
I'm taking that. All right,
There we go.
that beer's awesome. Oh, I love it.
Is it fucking 6:00 yet? By the way,
I don't
That
know.
thing goes
How-
on for a long time.
they just let those bells go, huh?
Somebody fell asleep at the...
Y'all enjoy that when you listen to this podcast. Really enjoy it. That's the real stuff.
We have a
of
soundtrack in the
podcast.
background
the
right now.
Lord is with us.
Sorry, we go right ahead. Deathbed.
I was hoping you guys were going to take some more time. I'm still.
Oh, you still thinking?
I know it's tough, right?
I could take more time. I am absolutely blown away how long this chime's been going from this church over here.
It's been going on for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, what the hell?
Shit.
Well, they started at 2 minutes before 6, and now it's.
I was going to say it's officially
six.
6:01. You. All right, I won't call any names, but please stop. No, I'm just joking. Sorry.
I was trying to think of the last beer that blew me away, and it was actually it was at Cooper Young Beer Fest back in Memphis. This is like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it was Yazoo Brewing Company. I don't know if you guys have heard of them much out here.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, that's off the top.
They have they've got an awesome Brett and Sour program going, and they did a beer called Brett Not Sour. And it was 100% Brett fermentation. They were trying to like dispel the rumors that Brett makes a beer sour.
Okay.
And that was one of the best beers I've ever drank. I would drink that every day.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, after hanging out with Weedy today, I could tell that he's got a Brett. He's got a taste for
He
Brett.
enjoys it. Because you guys, that's going to say, that you guys got together today because you're here to do a collaboration.
We
Tombstone,
brewed
right?
a collaboration beer today. Yep.
And how'd you guys meet?
Well, we met. We met through the Arizona Charlatan.
Yes, that's right.
So,
we were talking about that earlier.
That's Tim Wiebel. You guys all know him well, I guess.
Yeah, we've heard, Jeff knows him for sure. I've only heard stories.
And I've met him a few times.
And I see him on Facebook quite a bit.
The Sarah from Black Project calls him the Arizona Charlatan, so I had to put a plug in there for him
Okay.
because I'm sure he likes it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pause you real quick.
Okay.
We're opening one of your beers absolutely right now. Can you tell us a little bit about this? So because another one just got open, I want to make sure
So
we
this
talk
is a
about
different
them.
one. This is not the rye saison. Let's see what we got here. This is the light's not great. Okay, so yeah, this is the rye saison.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that's the rye.
Yeah. So actually, let me get a glass of it.
Absolutely.
Since we're here,
there's
there's
an empty glass
let's
right
enjoy
there.
It,
Yeah,
enjoy
pass it
beer.
around.
You need one too, right?
I need one too.
Shh, Jeff, you don't need a beer.
John brought us a 4-pack directly from Rowley Farmhouse Ales.
Very cool.
And we got some beers from Tombstone as well. We've some good ones. We already poured the Another Exercise in Mediocrity. And,
Yeah, that beer's great.
That
Good
beer is
job, Weedy.
awesome.
Thanks.
And the Little Baby Wyatt Session IPA. So
That beer is
cute.
great,
That's
too.
a
I
cu-
like
That's
it.
a
Good
cute
stuff.
name.
Simcoe Amarillo, right?
Little Baby White, that's Idaho 7 and Cashmere.
Super
okay.
good. Super good. Jeff, do you need a glass of the rye here?
No, he got one.
Okay.
God,
All right.
man.
Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were actually
Whoops.
talking about the beers. I was just pouring. I was just trying
Oh,
to
yeah, no.
make sure I stayed
and you-
socially lubricated.
Please keep pouring. But, I mean, you guys brought that stuff. We want to have an opportunity to talk about it.
Sure. That's great. Yeah, so the Fields of Rye, that's one of our 4 core beers.
Okay.
We make at Rowley Farmhouse Ales. It's a rye saison, pretty simple, 3711 yeast, French saison yeast. We actually get it from BSI.
Okay.
They're in Colorado Springs. So
I smell that.
it-
They can't, and it's sad.
yeah, they can. It is sad actually.
Oh.
So yeah, we're we like to focus on farmhouse styles. I like to give rye a little bit of love. It doesn't get much love, I think. It
Yeah.
tends to get shoved to the back.
Not as much as it should.
Not as much as it should. So we
I
just
think
basically
there was a time that it was everybody was brewing with the rye.
A
I
nice
think it's-
rye IPA.
yeah.
But I think that so
Rye
many
red.
people overdid it, and it was just like,
now everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
well, and it also sucks to brew with it.
It is really shitty.
Is it?
And in large volumes, it's really shitty.
What particularly? Just
Well, you get
for
stuck
us,
matches.
There's a lot of stuck
yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and it's just not pleasant.
Okay.
We don't use a whole lot in this beer. It's only 1 sack in a 7-barrel batch.
Okay.
So it's not a huge part of the grain bill.
Right.
I was gonna say,
but it's there.
You don't
It's there.
You don't get that
Oh,
real
big time.
spicy rye like basically.
There's a
kicked to
little
nuts
bit
with
of it,
this,
but it's not a huge.
I feel
yeah,
like you can
it's-
smell like the sourdough
yeah,
character.
It's there, but it's
Oh, yeah.
not in your face.
Yeah, I think it's a subtle. My approach with brewing is not like stick it in your face every
Right.
time. It tends to be more balanced.
Awesome.
And so I like to
really good.
have like a more subtle approach, a less kick it in the teeth approach.
Absolutely.
That's just me.
So Tim Weeble got you guys together. How did he manage to do that?
So Tim, when Tombstone first came out, Tim was on a social media tear, like, oh my God, you've got to try this beer. It's so fucking good. Oh my God. You know how he is.
Yeah.
That sounds like Tim.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's classic Tim.
Classic Tim. So Tim was going crazy about it. He's like, Rowley, you got to try this shit. It's fucking amazing. It's got to be better than any Trillium or any of this East Coast ones. I'm like, all right, well, cool.
Damn.
I'll get
That'd
it.
sell me too.
Welcome
no,
to the
he
show.
was-
I'd be like, all right, Tim, let's do this.
He was super enthusiastic. My mom and
they are
dad,
good.
Yeah, they are really good. my mom and dad live in Tucson, and they were coming up to Santa Fe. So I called Matt, who's the owner of the brewery here, and I said, "Hey, Matt, I'd like to buy a couple kegs." And we bought a couple kegs. There was an IPA and a double IPA at that point. I don't think they had a name. They were just IPA and double IPA.
Yeah.
I got them back at the brewery, and then my business partner was like, "What the fuck, man? We can't sell that. I mean, it's out of state. You can't do that." I'm like, "Oh, well, okay. Well, let's
Sure.
just fucking drink it."
Sure.
So we drank them, and we had a little party in the back. We got a 2 kegerator set up. We drank them. They
That's
went
awesome.
really fast.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And so I was like, "Yeah, these guys are killing it. This is great beer." And so I reached out to Matt and Weedy. I told them, "Yeah, let's do a collaboration."
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
then
why
you,
not?
and then you managed to get us involved, and we can't thank you enough for that. By
Yeah,
the way.
no sweat.
For getting us down
a problem at all.
Weedy, so can you guys tell us anything about the beer you brewed today, or is that still under wraps at this point for future release information? You guys look at each other. You just both look at it.
Well,
We can
I
always
don't think
save
there's-
that for after the next break, so you can have a chance to talk about it. But
No,
honestly,
I don't think
Well,
there's
we-
anything
we
secret
still-
about what we did.
Yeah, there was nothing secret. It's just we're still kind of deciding what to do with it after we start it.
right, right.
We started off with a sour where we've got some bacteria in there right now. It's going to sour overnight. Tomorrow I'm going to come in. I'm going to pitch some Saison yeast, and we'll add some Brett in about a week.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
and now they said that I already messed up. I mean, we might not be adding Brett in a week. You know,
Right,
we don't know yet.
right.
So
That's
Cool.
yeah.
That's very cool.
we're going to be putting this into barrels, and originally the plan was to co-pitch Saison yeast and Brett, and then today we started talking. It was like we're gonna have 8 barrels of this, 53 gallon
Yeah,
barrels, not
yeah.
beer barrels.
Yeah. No,
we're
let's
gonna have
get that
15
straight.
beer barrels of this. So
Yeah.
so I was like, let's
mix it up.
Yeah, let's make a series out of this and
Oh wow. Nice.
make a set of beers. So
very cool.
we'll be changing up each barrel a little bit. So I'm sure we're going to have a dry hopped version. We're going to have some fruited versions. We're going to have different Bretts, all types of stuff going on. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, we could probably stretch this out to
Yeah.
a handful of beers, and yeah, why not, right?
Absolutely.
All of one beer is going to be like, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of beer. Let's make some. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. How long you been up here? I mean, obviously you spent a lot of time.
well,
your
just today.
parents in
I got
Tucson,
here.
at least.
Yeah, I just got here today. So,
Okay. Oh, did you? All right.
well, I
awesome.
came to Tucson last night. I went to Tap and Bottle
Nice.
for
Yep.
their Bells party.
Love those guys.
Yep. Scott and Rebecca, fantastic people.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Well, some of the best. I love those guys.
We just met them 2 weeks ago. They were awesome.
They're top notch people. So yeah, I drank some Bells last night, some Black Note, some Expedition verticals.
Black Note's
Oh
great.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
showing us those verticals when we were there a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago.
it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
We were
And I had
jealous.
some other local beers too. I had a wet hop saison from Arizona Wilderness.
There you go.
That was the first time I seen wet hop in a saison. That was pretty good. I liked it.
Is that your first wilderness beer?
No, I've had quite a few.
Yeah. Not sure what gets to New Mexico.
I think no, we don't get any in New
Yeah, I
Mexico.
was gonna say.
We got a couple growlers over the years.
Yeah.
People brought a growler.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, they're I think the earlier growlers weren't very good. And I know I'm not talking shit or anything.
It's all about talking about beer. No
Yeah.
worries. Yeah, for sure.
But the some of the stuff now is on point.
and that's.
I don't
and
get-
I'm sure
I don't get
Chase
them a
will like
lot.
hearing that.
Yeah, I don't get them a lot. So
Yeah. No, I know they do a lot of different beer festivals and stuff like
yeah,
that.
they're definitely worldwide.
Yeah.
They get around.
Absolutely.
So we actually can finish the rapid round.
Oh, whoops, my bad. I'm gonna have to cut the shit out of that.
They like really hijacked it. No, it's fucking fine. Let's keep going. It's not a big
I'm
deal.
really sorry. I just wanted to talk about beer.
No,
My
I
bad.
understand.
The beer today.
So one thing that should never be in a beer. I guess we're talking about brewing. So what should never
Hey,
be in
that
a beer?
goes along with it. Works perfect.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's
a good segue.
What was
Okay,
one
yeah.
thing you guys spoke today, and you're like, "That's not going in the beer today"? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. That's
human testicles.
testicles.
Wow, human even, not even just
Weedy was on it with that one. He knew. He knew
He's
exactly.
been thinking about it. Testicles are probably a bad idea.
John, no. Okay.
Yeah, no testicles, please.
Yeah.
Well, that story happened, right? The bull testicles.
Yeah,
right?
someone's
Rocky Mountain
they've
Oysters.
done the Rocky
I'm
Mountain.
all for the
Oysters.
bull testicle. I'm talking no human testicle.
Human testicles. are
Weedy will
probably-
draw a line.
That's a
somewhere.
good line. That's a good line. Let's keep that line.
All right, sorry. Go
well,
ahead.
they're doing like the supermodels, whatever, freaking vagina.
Oh, the
Yeast.
vagine
Yeah.
beer. Yeah,
The vagine
yeah,
beer.
yeah.
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 Pass.
That's a fake
Nope.
thing, right?
No,
No.
I don't know.
Fake news.
Supposedly
No,
that's
I think-
really happening
I
in
think
Lake
that is
Europe.
actually real, but I haven't tried it or anything. I like sour beer. I like sour.
Yeah. I like sour beer.
I don't even like the idea of beard yeast.
I'll leave it at that. I like sour beer.
Let alone
Yeast,
below the belt
gross.
beer.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
That's funny.
Now, for me,
Pass.
the things I won't put in beer, I won't. I say I won't.
You have it up to this
would,
point.
I would not do like peanut butter extracts or caramel extracts. I'm not a fan of those, of really extracts in general.
Okay.
But I really can't stand the idea of peanut butter beers, candy beers. It's just not the way I prefer to brew.
Wheaty's not
Nice.
a pastry stout kind of guy.
I love that. Absolutely. So, John, did you have anything that can't go in a beer?
Human testicles.
You are on.
I
John is
concur.
firmly on board.
I concur with Weedy on that one. Yeah, testicles in general are bad.
All right, perfect.
See, I got two guys, and
yeah.
before when I did the rapid round, my answer was your dick. And I got a lot of looks. They're like, well,
close.
there's been a staggering amount of people like, well, and it's like,
Yeah,
no,
come on, man.
no, I'm telling you. So yeah,
Hey, we've got 3 versus 2 here.
You lose.
Well, the Beastie Boys told you never stick the dick in the mashed potatoes.
Yep. That's right. That's
Maybe that
right.
kind of party.
That's that kind of party.
Oh yeah.
No,
So-
yeah, testicles are bad.
As a brewer, anything that disagrees with you?
I don't know. I would say like shellfish.
Yeah,
It's probably a bad idea.
all right.
I don't know. I haven't experimented with that. I know there is an oyster stout.
Oyster stouts.
That's right.
And, I think the best examples of that only use the shell,
Okay. All
right? So you
right.
stick, you
Okay.
stick a shell in there. It gives you a little minerality.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
about the calcium with that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all about
yeah,
the
yeah.
calcium. You don't want the actual oysters.
Okay.
Hot sauce, probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
I've never done it. But,
Man, I was
I don't
trying
like
so
hot
hard
beers.
to get a Tabasco barrel for a while.
Oh, that would be different. That would be different. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that.
All right.
That'd be
Okay.
weird. So favorite place to have a beer?
That's a good question.
Or at least a place you enjoy.
Or yeah, a
Most
place-
people just choose most people have a problem with that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
The-
favorite place.
The word.
A good place to have a beer.
I think most places are pretty good to have a beer. I think in
Especially
general.
when you own a brewery. Your own brewery is a good spot to have a beer.
I have beers there regularly. Yeah. I like that. That's nice. Yeah, it's fun to meet the customers and hang out. And
Absolutely.
the quality control isn't going to
quality
do
control.
itself.
Yeah.
I always say that to
You're
the
very serious. about
bartender. Hey, I need a QC sample of that Asian Scully right now. Okay,
That's awesome.
but yeah, I don't know. Beer is great for everywhere.
Yeah. No.
Maybe not
absolutely.
in the car.
No.
Well, people do that, but technically not supposed to do that.
Back of the
Nice
limo.
roadie.
Yeah.
Never had a road beer in my life.
No
Never had a road
no
soda?
road beer.
Never. Wink,
Road,
wink.
road soda. Road
Yeah.
sodas.
Road sodas.
Yeah.
Probably not allowed, but I think anywhere is a good spot to have
So
a beer.
anywhere for John.
So, I mean, we're saying favorite. Like, I'm going to agree. Anywhere is a good place to have a
Anywhere
beer.
is a good spot.
But if I'm talking about my favorite place to have a beer, it's going to be any place that has the maximum amount of pinball machines.
Pinball
nice.
machines.
All right.
Nice. Very nice.
Good answer.
That's a
Nice.
great answer.
Very
I
good.
like that.
Yep.
Most and least favorite beer to make.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we brewed an imperial stout a couple weeks ago. That was a major pain in the ass. We did a double mash to make it happen because our mash tun can fit about 600 pounds of grain, and we ended up using about 1,200 for a 7-barrel batch. And then we had to boil it. I didn't get home till 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
That was a shitty day. Weedy has a little more endurance than me. He's done 32-hour brew days and not really complained about it. It seems like,
Jeez.
but
I complained a little.
complained a little.
I more blamed the guy that came up with the recipe. So it's just
Yeah.
coming all back on me again. So.
Right.
Yeah,
And best.
any beer with stuck mashes, that's
Yeah,
the worst. Not a fan.
Okay. And your favorite beer you guys brew?
Well, in terms of actually brewing it, I
Yeah.
would say our Berliner Weiss called Germophile.
Yes.
Super easy beer to brew. It's lauders really well. Real easy beer to brew. Cleanup wise, we don't really use any hops in it, so it's super
Yeah.
easy to clean up. I love brewing Germophile. It's just,
How do you guys sour that one?
so we sour it with the Lactobacillus plantarum,
Nice.
and then we pitch Saison yeast in it 24 hours later. And so it doesn't make sense for a Berliner Weiss, but it actually works really
I was
well.
gonna say, sounds
we've got
sounds intriguing to me. I'm
Yeah,
in.
we've got a can of it here, so we can try it.
Sweet.
I wasn't
Yeah.
going to guess that was Saison yeast, actually.
Are these?
Yeah, we keep that one the temperature down so it
Yeah,
doesn't.
those are his.
I know. I was thinking. I thought these were all the same exact can.
No,
I didn't
no.
realize there were 4 different cans.
Yeah,
Now I'm really fucking excited for
Yeah, I was
this too.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, what all did you bring, John? I know I'm gonna hijack it again.
No, we're fine.
No, I brought the
Good
Fields of
intro, 'cause I
Rye.
need
Fields of
another
Rye.
beer.
Yeah, perfect.
The Germophile, which is the
Okay.
straight up plain Berliner Weiss. I also brought a beer called Conduit,
Okay.
and that's kind of a little side
Good sound.
tangent off of Agent Scully season 1, episode 4.
Excited.
And I can tell you the story about that.
Excited. You a fan of X-Files, John?
I am, yeah.
What made you think that,
What
Nate?
made you think that?
We're gonna be really good friends, John.
Yeah, I love the X Files. It's it kind of dates me a little bit, but
You don't want my. You don't want my.
I too love the X-Files.
I really don't care.
You don't want my glass of beer,
Date you?
Yeah.
That
With
show
that
was like
can.
the early '90s. That date you.
dude. I love.
Yeah,
Whatever.
date you.
I went back and watched fucking all the X Files again,
Very nice.
which I love them.
Makes you awesome. I'm not sure it dates
Okay,
you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, I'm an old man. I'm hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you're good, man.
making
You're-
me feel young. I like it.
Hang it in there.
All right, that's awesome. Where was I in the middle of your hijack?
Oh,
Did we get an answer from everyone?
what's-
yeah.
what's
no, we were talking to Weedy.
Weedy. Oh, we didn't. Sorry,
Yeah,
but we didn't.
Weedy, you almost made it, dude.
I actually really thought I was going to get out of that one.
You're like, I don't want to answer that stupid question.
Hey, wait a minute. That's my question.
Yeah, sorry.
God damn it.
I didn't write it.
Is that rapid round or no?
Yeah,
this is rapid
We're
round.
still in the rapid round.
Believe it or not, this is actually the.
Like I said, it's never goes really rapidly, but you know.
Compared to most of our questions, it happens pretty right in a row.
I could
Okay,
do this
fair
all night.
Good, because I got a lot of questions.
So
got
good
time.
we.
Weedy has
This
a lot
is just
of
his.
endurance.
Yeah, what time's the brewery open? We'd be
Which
here.
one's this? That
Weedy has the
smells-
key, so there's no closing time.
Holy shit, that's so good.
That smells incredible.
Is that the Germophile?
Yeah.
Weedy, you're still not getting out of it. Fucking answer the question, man.
Seriously, that smells
All
incredible.
right.
No, that
So
can't be
most,
the
what's your
Germophile.
favorite beer to brew?
favorite beer to brew is German style Pilsner.
Smells like an
Okay.
IPA.
Yeah, no,
It took me a long time to come around to the style.
they probably put
But
the wrong.
when I
beer
studied
the
in
wrong
Germany,
What do you think it is?
I
I
dedicated
think
my
it's an
time
IPA.
out there to learning
Oh
to
yeah,
brew
no,
it.
I agree with that.
Least favorite
Sorry.
style. I
Go
haven't
Weedy, go.
had to brew. I haven't had to brew my least favorite style in Tombstone. Matt kind of lets me brew what I want. You know, we talk about it and we come up with a schedule and everything. But everything that we've talked about is stuff that I want to brew and he wants brewed. So
Excellent. All right.
it's a good.
That's a fun
compromise.
relationship to be a part of.
In my last brewery, I did have to. We were a production brewery, and sometimes you have to, in that type of setting, you have to appease the masses. And I say production brewery, like I guess we're technically a production brewery here at Tombstone. I almost consider us, like at our size, being more of like a packaging brew pub. And we don't
Yeah.
have a flagship beer. We brew whatever we feel like, and we put it into cans. In a true production style brewery, you've got a distributor, and they only want a certain amount of brands. And I could not stand brewing some of the. We did a peanut butter stout. We did a
Yeah.
candy bar stout. You guys heard earlier. I don't want to put
Not
that in
a
beer.
fan.
Yeah, so not things I want to brew.
Yeah,
But,
and that's awesome. I mean, I can't.
Respect.
but
yeah, exactly. I
But you,
respect that.
you also you get paid to brew certain things. So.
yeah, I respect that
there's-
too.
That's the difference between a home brewer and a pro brewer is, some days you've got to wake up and go to work and actually brew a beer you don't really give a shit about.
And that's a really awesome perspective that we don't always get on this show. So
Right.
I appreciate that big time. John, just to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
So what do we suspect is in here? Do you
So,
think it's not
I'm gonna-
possibly Agent Scully, is
This
it?
is Agent Scully episode.
Oh, Nate.
It's like a fucking dream come true.
Wait, so it's not Germophile?
This is
No.
not Germophile.
Smell
so
that thing.
I'm-
Yeah,
man.
it's not as clean as I remember the.
It's definitely not
Germophile, yeah.
Germophile.
So-
I'm
I
gonna,
smelled that. I was like, that's an IPA.
I'm gonna yell at my bartender now.
that
Wes.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Wes.
Oh,
down.
Oh, Wes, you sweet son of a bitch.
Nate went from fucking
Thank
10 to
you.
midnight just right
Thank
now as soon as you said
Don't get me
that.
wrong. I love a Berliner. I love a Berliner. But I mean, I went to your tap list today and I was like, Agent Scully? Yeah, I want to drink that beer.
So,
yeah.
So this beer is Agent Scully, season 1, episode 4.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll give you a little bit of back history on,
Yeah, please.
on Agent Scully.
Please.
So Agent Scully is our IPA. We brew it regularly, but it changes from batch to batch. So
That
the
is
only
so
thing
clean.
the only thing that we do constantly is we add ginger marmalade to the boil. What? Yeah, we use 6 8-ounce cans in each 7-barrel batch, so it's not much. But in order to call it Agent Scully, I think I should have the ginger.
Some ginger. There you go.
Have some ginger.
I caught on and didn't
Nate's
catch
a
it
little
there for a
slow to it,
second.
but he got it.
Yeah, he got it. So it's not very gingery. Let me put it that way. You know, even when it's wort and it's not fermented, I don't think you can
Really?
really pick up a lot of ginger. But it does have ginger marmalade in it.
Yeah, let's get this perfectly straight.
So let's just so you know that I'm not making fun of gingers technically.
This is a tribute to
This
gingers.
is
What are you talking about?
Tribute to gingers.
I get like way
I'm
more
emotional over here. I'm just joking.
I get
So-
like way more of a stone fruit vibe off of this. Like,
Okay.
like big time.
Nice. So we brew this beer typically with Simcoe and Amarillo hops exclusively.
And you said you changed based on the episode what your addition is?
Yeah.
Or-
So
Not
we've
to interrupt
done
there.
we've done one with Eldorado hops. I think we did a Simcoe Eldorado one. I don't know if that's this one or not, but yeah, it's hard to keep track because you're doing all this different stuff. But
You got like
I think-
10. You got like 10 seasons to work through.
I've got a lot. So
you're
we're
doing
this
good.
is only the
and
fourth
they're not
batch.
done, right? Aren't they doing another season of the X Files?
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
that this is
there's
a pop
new,
culture show. So.
There's a new one coming soon.
Welcome to the Hoppy Craftsmen pop culture.
Me and John are happy. So
No, there is a new season coming out. I don't know what that means. How many episodes?
excited. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay,
So yeah, this is our our IPA. We sell a lot of this beer. It sells
I'm not surprised.
quite a bit more than anything else. That said, I do want to focus on farmhouse styles, but an IPA can fit into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gonna turn that down.
Yeah, put yourself in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
We don't like to brew in boxes.
It's probably helpful.
All right, I definitely hijacked you again there.
No, no, I was gonna say,
it's not my fault.
no,
that
you're
Agent
fine.
Scully
Hey.
came instead of Germophile.
I am-
that
I
got
am-
excited.
That's Wes's fault. So
No,
Wes, you made a mistake.
Wes, you did a good
But
job. Well, you didn't do a good job, but you did an okay job for
He
me.
did
I don't
yeah.
get me wrong. I'm excited about that Germophile too.
Germophile's good. It's a really good beer.
Because
I'm real
Berliners
happy
are
with-
awesome.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a super simple beer, but
I got
it's
excited when I saw
enjoyable.
how you soured it.
This is
I think that's awesome.
A fortunate accident. This was
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
All right.
excellent.
Where were we, Chris?
What is the next big trend in craft beer? Or what do you guys think
Well,
it
I
might
think Pilsner's is so hot right now.
I'm going with. I'm actually.
Pilsners.
I'm actually
So
going with.
hot.
I'm going with lagers.
Lagers.
Yes, I agree with that
Lagers
big
are
be?
time.
hot.
We've heard
Yep,
that a
yep.
bunch.
Yep.
No,
Lagers.
lagers are hot, and maybe not. I don't know how Arizona is. New Mexico's a little bit behind the curve, so to say.
Right.
Well, you tell people, I think sours, but it's like sours are already here. Sours
Yeah,
are
they're
already
already-
big.
Sours
They're
are
I
already-
think
making
that sours were the
making
big
the
thing 2 years ago, and they never lived up to the expectations that we thought they were going to be.
Damn,
Fair enough.
Weedy, fucking A. Well, I love some fucking strong opinions.
Well,
Yeah.
so I actually think that there's still a place for them, and
Oh,
obviously
absolutely.
people
Oh,
are,
yeah.
people are going to buy them. But it's now it's heavily soured, fruited sours. It's not just
Yes, not just a
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah, it's less common to see just a plain straight sour beer nowadays.
true.
Yeah, fruits are taking over.
And I don't
Yeah.
think it's kettle sours the way we thought it was
No.
going to be years ago. I don't
No,
like
the kettle sour has its place, but it's not as popular as it was. I think.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of doing kettle sours
Yeah,
myself.
I love them.
But I don't think that that's what like the hardcore craft beer geek is after. I think what they want is the heavily fruited, long-term aged sour that's got a lot of complexity. Where a kettle sour, it is more simple, but you have a lot of options with it. I'm a big
I was
fan
gonna
of
say,
doing just dry hop kettle sours.
Yeah, dry hop sours
Yeah.
are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Big fan of that myself.
But
Fan.
I don't think that it lived up to the expectation we expected.
It didn't
couple
get as
years
big
ago.
as it didn't. It certainly didn't out IPAs.
It looked like a couple years ago, like IPAs were on their way out
In
the
trouble.
door, and then the Northeast style happened.
Northeast
hammered
style
it.
definitely brought IPA back up to a higher plane. I don't think IPA ever left into a lower like plane, if you will, or a lower field. It's always been
Well-
a high level beer. It sells a lot.
The thing is people and to just continue to hijack Chris's area.
No,
Chris,
you're good, man. You're good, man.
Fuck this rapid round.
I'm
I'm calling
gonna-
it the slow.
We're gonna
round.
do it at the very end now. Fuck you guys.
People, honestly, I mean,
Nah, it's all good.
I mean, we see it. What's it? The brewery, Turio. I mean, they have a series called Hoppy Obligations
Okay.
because they made a beer because they made an IPA because they had to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
he's always
kind of-
pushed to not have an IPA.
That's the thing.
Patrick, for a long time.
people, I mean, you guys are making us these killer IPAs. Weedy, you guys are, I mean, Agent Scully, this is fucking bomb. I love it.
Thank you.
I really love it. And you guys can tell, you're like, we got to make one. We enjoy making it, but it's not
It's
always
not-
number one.
It's definitely a fun beer to make.
Yeah,
I like IPA in general. I drink them more often than not.
but for you, it's all. I mean, it's farm.
Yeah, I
Rowley
wanna
farmhouse
make more farmhouse
ales.
beers.
That's what you're doing.
Exactly.
I think IPAs, if you're just going out and buying a beer, the IPA is kind of a safe bet.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to be honest, there's Oh crap! I shouldn't have started down this road.
Yeah,
Go.
You're in Tombstone, dude. It'll take them forever to get here.
There's a lot of bad craft beer being produced, and if you're buying an IPA, you can generally assume that it's going to have flavors that you're used to drinking. Where
True.
if you buy something else, somebody ventured outside the box. I feel like it's sad, but it's true that the current state of craft beer is that more than 50% of the time you're not going to end up with a beer you're happy with.
Yeah, I could go with that to some degree.
Now, but why? But why, and just to illuminate, just to continue on that. Why unhappy? Just based off expectations, or based off what you think's going into it. It's not what's going to come out.
I feel like the amount of beer that is released that's either under attenuated or it's a diacetyl bomb, that butter off flavor.
Yeah.
I think that's an incredible portion of craft beer being produced. And I feel like I shouldn't have started the conversation because nobody wants to be the brewer that actually says this. But I think
that's fine though. I mean, quality is the most important thing
Yeah,
in
is.
craft beer.
And we're the podcasters who want to hear it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, those are interesting angles to hear. We want, you're not sitting here naming names, and that's fine. It's just interesting to know your opinion on beer. So absolutely.
Yeah, if there's shitty beer being made, it shouldn't be sold, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not everyone has a great palate. Not everyone's been trained in that. So some brewers they push off beer that they probably should have dumped.
Well, and what I was going to say is that
if there's ever a question, if you ever say, "Is this beer bad enough to dump it?" Then the answer is you should dump it.
Dump it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the answer was already yes.
Yes.
Well, people, I mean, I think even with the hazy IPA trend right now, people are making them just to make them because they want the hottest thing and do the thing, and they're not making them well. They're not making really good.
Well,
just because it says New England hazy doesn't mean it's great.
Well, that's like people adding flour to the beer just to make it hazy.
Yeah, I feel like
for
that's
mouthfeel.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
air
bullshit.
quotes.
I
air
actually
quotes,
really feel like
mouthfeel.
that's one of the hardest styles to perfect, and so many people will
difficult.
disagree. But to me, there was so much research that went into the original, talking about biotransformation of hop oils and trying to figure out exactly how you could make the final product exactly the way you wanted it, and talking about the yeast pitching rates, the protein content. There's so much that goes into these beers, and it's not simple. And right now, there's so many canning lines, bottling lines. They have a high oxygen levels of pickup. You shouldn't be putting these beers through those lines because when you have this much protein, this much yeast, and all that stuff going through these canning lines, that's just a recipe for disaster. And
Yeah, they definitely don't hold up if they're treated poorly going into the can.
And that's awesome because that's where I wanted to go in my very next point. I mean, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I love the beer being made in the valley and out here. I mean, in Tombstone, Tucson, but I see, in my opinion, I see a lot of beers that shouldn't even be canned.
Yeah,
they don't taste right after about a week. And if you can't make it 6 days after a
If you
canning
can't
line,
hold up for a week, you should probably not can
you
it.
probably shouldn't can it.
it also used to be a thing. It was like if you were a packaging brewery, that was like a sign you made it.
Right, right.
That was a big deal. It's
Yeah.
like, man, you guys are in bottles, you guys are in cans. Now it's like, you started. All right.
How'd you can that?
Well, I know there's a lot of, with the mobile canning unit coming around here, I think more people are canning their stuff.
Yeah.
And we talked to Kyle at Pueblo Vita there, and they actually bought their own DO. So, they can actually see
the
how
Pueblo Vita guys, they've got it down. Like that, they're nailing it with the mobile canning line. That was something I never trusted, and they've just destroyed they get exactly what they want out of it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's highly respectable to me.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Was
Definitely.
along these lines, there was like in all of the kind of like local Arizona groups that are on Facebook, there was a conversation that started that, a lot of people are, with the oversaturations of brewers that are coming in, we're getting to the point where people are counting out, it's a new brewery, it's going to suck. And Weedy, I think you said something along the lines of like, there are a lot more ways to make a beer bad than there are to like produce a good beer. And with that oversaturation, I think you're right, because there's a lot of people that are like jumping into the game, and the things, everyone wants to get in the game. They want to get their stuff in cans, and, they talk about how much, these dissolved oxygen meters are, and people are loaning them, or they just don't do them, or they don't care. Ultimately, obviously, that affects the quality of that beer, and it surprises me that anyone would go down the road of not investing in something like that, because that's your brand. And, you let a can leave your brewery and it's got, too much oxygen in it. And, those cans go around beer trades or whatever. And then you got some guy on the East Coast saying, what the fuck is Arizona doing? This beer's horrible. Where when it got put in the can, it was probably great, but by the time it got to the East Coast,
I think it also goes pretty far beyond that. Where like right now, I was talking to John earlier today about the Citra hop quality. When Citra was introduced, like I remember buying it back in 2009, and it was like this amazing Fruit Loop quality. It had like a lychee character, lots of tangerine. It was like everything you would imagine in a fruit salad. And now you find Citra that's just like onion and garlic. And that's what's being pawned off on small breweries. If you want to get good hops these days, I really feel like you've got to go out to the farm. You've got to select them yourself. And you've got to tell them, I want the hops that are not coming from the supplier. You got to say, I want them coming from this farmer, from this part of the farm. They were harvested on this day. And I feel like right now there's a lot of, you don't have that option a lot of times as a small brewery. I'm pretty fortunate as a brewer that I got to go out to Portland. I got to select our hops, and we overcontracted our hops. We're going to sell them off to other breweries that we respect. I think that Pueblo Vida is going to be buying some of our Amarillo. John earlier talked about buying some of the Amarillo.
Yeah, I'm in.
So,
Count me in.
Yeah, right.
so we're getting these great hops, and we're giving them to the brewers that we know are going to do a good job with them. We're not giving them to them, we're selling them to them, but
We're just giving them away.
He gave us his can of beer. We're gonna give him some Amarillo. It's totally fine.
They're just giving it away.
But I actually feel like that's an important part that's missing right now. I feel like if you just order whatever hop is available, you might be getting the trendiest hop, but you're not getting the best quality of that hop. And that can affect shelf life just as much as oxygen pickup can. That can also, just lend to those garlic and onion flavors. Or I feel like that's in a lot of Citra right now. A lot of Citra. It's in a lot of Galaxy. Those flavors shouldn't exist, and you got to go out and you got to really work to get them.
And Galaxy's really expensive, so
it's $30 a pound. You're getting crap
$30 a
hops.
pound on shitty hops. You're like, fuck.
But
God, I hate that.
How many people do you think are just passing that off like where they know it? But I mean, your average consumer, all of us at this table, we've probably, you're obviously a professional. You guys brew, you know all about the off flavors. We've been drinking beer a lot of times. I can tell off flavors, but I wouldn't call myself a pro on it. But, there's a lot of people that are drinking these beers with these off flavors that are like, oh, that's fucking amazing. And you're like, don't you taste that?
I don't know if like garlic and onion from hops are perceived as off flavors. I think that
I think they're kind of accepted for a lot of IPA drinkers.
Yeah.
Also, it says you can hide off flavors in IPAs like there's no tomorrow, right? But like we talk about pilsners and lagers, you have to be on your game.
No
to an
room
extent,
to
you
hide.
also taste what you expect. Somebody tells you that this beer's got Citra, and you go, I love Citra.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
You're looking for it.
Yeah.
You have that pre notion of being good automatically,
notions.
right? And social media does it really well with all the freaking hype they do, right? So these beers from lots of different breweries, you get a can of it no matter what. Even it's fucking
There's
old,
a reason.
they're amazing, right? No matter what you say, I traded so much for this, so it's going to be a great beer no matter what.
I'm going to drink it no matter what.
Right.
There's a reason Galaxy is $30 a pound. What it seems to be, whatever
There's a
beer
lot
it
of hype.
touches, is it's nuts.
Well, and it also could just be the difference between good beer and great beer is very small. But I know for myself as a brewer, my only goal, I don't pay attention to the finances at all. My only goal is to produce world-class beer. And I'm going to go to whatever ends I need to make that happen. I feel like John's the same way from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think that. My partner probably does not.
I was going to say, you guys are the brewers. You seem that.
Yeah, no, you have to, as a brewer, you have to put quality first. And I said that before, and I'm going to say that again. My name is on every beer that I make. I have to, I can't put out a piece of shit beer.
Every label.
Every label, my name's on it. Every time you come to my brew pub, my name's on it.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot.
Doesn't say Weedy Brewing Company.
The good news is
But-
it's, if you make a piece of shit beer, just throw it down the drain.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
But you got to respect that you both come from that area, that you both feel that no matter what your goal is, it's to put the best product out.
That's the thing I like Weedy about.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the money's going to work itself out. If
Yeah.
if the quality is there, People are gonna buy it.
And we've seen that with Tombstone. I mean, you guys kill it in the Valley. And I know you were saying earlier, I mean, you kind of think that's almost a little silly just because, and I'm sure you're humble in that regard, but I mean, you make some killer IPAs, and the people in Phoenix and Chandler and all these, they rush to these gas stations. They watch for Facebook, they watch Instagram, and they rush to these gas stations to get these beers. I mean, that's got to be awesome for you as a brewer as well.
Okay, well, I'm a guy that I really shouldn't be allowed to have an ego because it's gonna be rough if it happens. So I try not to pay attention so much to that part of it. It's really awesome. It's nice to see. It makes me feel good. But yeah, I mean,
no one's gonna be bummed out when their beer sells.
No, it's definitely good for you. You feel good about making a good product. That you should feel okay about it.
Absolutely.
You want to have some pride in your product.
Absolutely.
It's cool to see because we were talking before we even started the podcast that there's a fever pitch for Borderlands and Tombstone beer in the Valley now, and the stuff hits, and it's if you're not in line or at a package store like right when they start posting that it's there,
it's gone.
You're not getting any.
And we're about to take a quick break, but you know what? I honestly, I love Borderlands. I love them. But it's not the same as with Tombstone. I mean, you cannot, if you don't get to the store within a few hours and it's not a big release, you're not going to get it.
Yeah,
you're not going to get it. And
that's gone.
That's the funny part of it. I mean, that's not funny, but it's just the interesting part of it to see, you guys, you come up to Tombstone, you guys we keep 10 cases for the tap room and we sell out everything after that. I mean, that's wild.
Now, I was a big fan. I had that Borderlands Grebthar's Hammer.
Yes.
Oh my God,
there was something really unique about that beer that I was a fan of. It's like a strawberry character.
Nice. I like strawberry.
How do you get a strawberry character in a beer that's just made with hops,
Yeah,
malt,
I was gonna
yeast,
say, just
water?
based off the hop additions.
Yeah, and that was Galaxy.
Well, I can
and
tell you
Emerald
about
too,
that.
right?
It was straight at Galaxy, I believe.
Straight Galaxy?
Yeah.
There was a beer that Santa Fe Brewing made years ago, and I know we're about to take a break.
No, you're good. You're good.
Keep going. We
But,
don't even care.
Yeah, so there's a guy in New Mexico. His name is Todd Bates. He's a weird kind of agricultural guru, and he decided to start researching the native hops in New Mexico. Neo-Mexicanus is what they're called, and there's a bunch of different strains of Neo-Mexicanus, and there was one that was called Latier, and these guys at Santa Fe Brewing got a 10-pound bag of Latier fresh hops, or they weren't fresh hops. They were whole leaf hops. They were dried. And they made a simple beer, like a blonde ale with it. And oh my fucking God, it was straight strawberry juice. It was normal beer color, like, pale colored beer, but it tasted like you just bit into a strawberry, and it didn't have a lick of fruit in it.
Damn.
And
I want that beer now, John.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing that.
Sold that.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I've been trying to buy those hops for a while now.
Yeah.
Nobody's growing them in any significant quantity.
The original HBC 342 that had like a watermelon character.
Nice.
And that hop now it's just like spicy. But
So it's changed.
The Lagunitas Sucks, the original batch, like
Yeah.
2012 or so.
First blend of Sucks was awesome.
Yeah. It tasted like watermelon juice
Yeah.
to me. And that was that HBC 342. You don't get that from that hop anymore.
No, that's what happens when more people grow it.
That's
and
making me
changes. It is sad.
making me real sad.
We should pour some beer out on the ground. Just
Yeah, we will. We'll take a quick break. By the way,
Lagunitas Sucks.
just before we go, Weedy Brewing Company. I think that has a nice ring to it.
I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. All right, guys, we're back again. We got some more beer. What are we drinking, Weedy? Weedy went and grabbed us.
Another exercise in mediocrity.
Perfect. Weedy grabbed us a couple cans of that. That was super nice of him.
Yeah, thanks, Weedy. It's a really good beer.
Yes.
There's nothing mediocre
Seriously.
about this beer.
Nothing at all. Tell us about the beer, Weedy.
Yes, please.
Talk about ironic, right?
John is good at this.
Wow.
I really
I'm a natural.
We got a
John is good at
We just got a fourth craftsman.
so I really opened these beers so we could just drink and not have to necessarily talk about my
I didn't
beers,
want to
but-
fucking talk about it. You can be light on
Well,
it.
so the what happened with this beer is before Tombstone ever opened, there was an article that was written about Tombstone Brewing Company was opening, and a lady went and commented on, actually, I think it was Tim Weeble's Facebook page. He had
Nice.
shared,
Of course.
of course,
That
it's Tim.
fucking guy.
So I think he had shared the post, and a lady went and commented and said, "Oh, great, just what Arizona needs, another exercise in mediocrity." And so Matt, I was not associated with the brewery. I can't take claim to this. I wish I could, but Matt actually went and he changed the Facebook slogan for Tombstone Brewing Company from world class beer from the town Too Tough to Die to another exercise in mediocrity.
I love that. That's
so
great,
awesome.
man.
And so I never actually saw the Facebook page with that, but I was like, man, we've got to put that on a beer.
That's a good name.
And so I was like, we've got to name a beer that. And I talked to Matt about it like really early on, and we talked about doing it actually for one of our first batches, and I was like, no, you know what? We can't do it until we have some cred, because otherwise, like, people are gonna drink this like fucking mediocre beer.
It's like this is a good fucking name for this beer.
It's a good name.
The power of suggestion is a little too strong sometimes. So,
Right.
So we waited, and once we started to get a little bit of a reputation, we went ahead and put the name on the beer.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're like we're safe. We make good IPAs now.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and throw that on there.
And I mean, it's an incredibly hoppy beer. It's
Yes.
It's so
It
good.
is.
When's there gonna be an I'm Your Huckleberry beer?
Oh man, I don't know about that.
That's gotta happen. Come on.
So we've actually had a few events where people have used that tagline. The Attic, they did a tap takeover, and it was I'm Your Huckleberry at the Attic.
And you're like,
We don't like that shit.
God damn it.
Yeah, well,
Again.
Well, you can't really escape that, right? It's
Yeah, no way.
Tombstone.
Yeah, right.
yeah, you know, it's I like being in Tombstone to an extent, but I got to draw the line. I don't do the branding.
Nate said there should be a statue of Val Kilmer in this town, is what he said.
I don't know a lot about Tombstone. That was So anyway, I was going to ask you one beer I wanted to talk to you about that we talked a little bit earlier was Dank Fruit.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about just brewing that beer? I mean, how it came to be?
And also how that name came to be. That's
Yeah,
the
it's a
big
good one.
important part.
So Dank Fruit was one of our early double IPAs. That one, I think I brewed actually a double IPA in our second round of beers. Every time we brew, we do 3 beers. And so in the second round of 3, I did a double IPA, and I actually wasn't too happy with it. So Dank Fruit was kind of my attempt at making up for the first double IPA. And I just upped the hopping rates and changed around. I used a little more Simcoe and I added some hop oils to it. And after I was done whirlpooling the beer, I opened up the kettle doors and I smelled it, and it was like I smelled it. It smelled like weed and it smelled like fruit. And so I texted Matt, and I was like, if there was a fruit that was dank, it'd be called dank fruit, and it would smell exactly like this. And
And there you go.
and then he just said like, haha, and I said, can we put that on the beer?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, go for it.
Nice.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
Matt's pretty laid back. He's pretty much anything goes. So
That's awesome. And that's got to be helpful in
Yeah.
being a head brewer and doing what you want to do.
yeah,
Well, that's like truth
That's
in
awesome.
advertising, because you see those things, and being a beer connoisseur, that's the first. It's like, okay, stick your face in it, and you guys nailed it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And props to Matt for letting you guys do what you got to do as
Yeah.
far as, just doing whatever you want to make.
Being
and
creative
stuff.
and letting
Yeah, that's awesome.
You take the reins and do what you want to do. That's pretty cool.
yeah. I think that
Can't be bummed with the results.
No, that beer is really good.
Yeah.
Matt and I have a lot of similar ideas, and I think that it's made a little bit of a synergistic effect where it's like Matt, when I'm like, man, what people really want is a hoppier beer. So we named a beer More Hops, and I was like,
Let's get right to it.
I was like, yeah, let's go for it, and let's just like put more hops in beer, and let's just call it More Hops. And Matt was like, sounds good. I was like, we released that beer, and I was like, man, that's awesome. Just wait till we release Most Hops. And he just laughed. And so a couple of weeks ago, he was like, so when are you brewing Most Hops? I was like,
Nice.
really?
Yeah, all right, I'm going for it.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, and where at this point, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit how you got started. Start with you, John. Just how you came to run and own Rowley Farmhouse Ales.
Well, I've been homebrewing for a long time.
Right.
And
You're still you and Chris are talking. You are still the.
I'm still the president of the homebrew club in Santa Fe, which is called the Sangre de Cristo Craft Brewers.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, well, it's a weird name, but
It's a long name.
It's a long name. It used to be called the Grainful Heads.
Nice.
It was a bunch of old deadheads. They all gave up. They're like, oh, I'm too high to do this anymore.
Green flag.
So they gave up, and the
You
club.
still got their numbers?
Maybe. I know one of them for sure.
Wait, did you say dank fruit?
Nice. That's good. I like that. So the older club kind of gave up. Then, around 2008, 2009, there was a bunch of new homebrewers in Santa Fe. It started out with these guys named the Baca brothers. And Mark Baca and his brother Gerald. Gerald was he had lost his arm in a jet ski accident we call him Stumpy. Right? And he liked it. He wanted to be called that. I don't know what his deal was.
Fucking
but
A.
Fucking A. So he had
Roll with it.
Stumpy and Mark it was kind of like a drinking club for their family.
Okay.
Right. So their uncles would come. This guy, Uncle Larry, he was always there. And these other two guys, I don't remember the name, and a few other people would bring their home brews in back of Santa Fe Brewing, and we would just kind of drink them and hang out, and we'd have a monthly meeting with all of our home brews. And then I think around 2009, it got a little more organized. They were doing like Learn to Homebrew Day, which is actually tomorrow. AHA, American Homebrewers Association, does 2 events typically.
Okay.
They do one called Big Brew, which is the first Sunday or the first Saturday of May. And they do another one, Learn to Homebrew Day, which is the first Saturday in November.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're listening to this in New
If you're
Mexico,
listening to
you
this-
missed that.
Well, it's all over the country. There's probably some in
of course.
Phoenix. There's probably some
absolutely.
in Tucson.
Big time.
Yeah, it's a fun event. People get out.
Oh, I
and
bet.
Get out to brew somewhere else other than their garage.
Awesome.
Not that there's anything wrong with the garage. The
Nothing
garage is
wrong
always
with it.
fun.
That's where I brew.
Yeah, the garage is great. Privacy.
Yeah.
Nobody hassling you.
Nope.
Yeah, out in public, it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear
For
pants.
sure.
You don't wear
Yeah,
pants
you have
in
to
your
wear
garage.
pants, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a big deal.
I wear pants.
In your garage? I don't believe it.
Lies.
No,
So there's a lot to be said for not wearing pants.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, when you
Just-
brew though,
just
you don't
keep
want to get
going.
the hot wort on there.
Are you doing the human testicle beer?
No testicle
I was
beer.
just gonna say, can we revert back to what doesn't belong in beer?
Well, just because you don't wear pants doesn't mean you have to be
John gets
dipping it. Yeah, you don't want to dip it.
Thank you, John. You dip in it.
You're not doing a swizzle stick in the friggin' mash. Is that what you're
Dip
saying?
in it.
All
No,
right.
that'll hurt a lot.
Yeah. It's maybe.
Woo, boiling
So-
wort. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
pleasant.
So home brews are obviously a big part of how you
So
got
yeah,
started.
I homebrewed a lot. I started talking to a couple guys, probably 2014-ish. I did really well as a homebrewer. I won a lot of medals.
Nice.
I won medals in nationals. I won medals at the Master Championship of Amateur Brewing. I was a competitive homebrewer. I did really well. I've,
That's
a
awesome.
lot of medals in my house.
That's awesome.
Kind of tired of looking at them, but
What a problem.
what a problem.
What a problem to have.
No, I don't know what to do with them. I can't really bring them to the tap room because that's kind of douchey. Like, oh, look at all my homebrew medals.
Look what I did.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just time to move on to that.
Nice.
And so we worked on a business plan, and my one of my biggest influences was probably Jester King.
Nice.
I spent a lot of time drinking those kind of beers after going there in 2013, I think. So when they first did the Atrio Rubicite, which is their raspberry sour, I happened to go there that weekend on a whim. I didn't know that it was being released.
Right. Just lucky.
Bottle releases weren't a huge thing at that point, and I lucked out. I got there and I met Jeff from Jester King, and I pulled nails with him all day and drank all of his
Dang.
killer bottles
Wow.
or killer barrels, and I was like, holy
Wow.
shit, it really made an impact on me.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And before that, I was brewing, some saison, but mostly, IPAs, foreign extra stouts, kind of more of like a La Cumbre influence. Before
What did you win a lot of your homebrew awards for?
Well, I think most of them were actually sour beer.
Were they?
Later on? But
Yeah.
the big medals were all sour beer.
Nice.
Best of shows in
That's awesome.
a number of competitions. The beer I brewed the most were, probably stouts. Stouts are always fantastic.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a good stout?
Yeah.
IPAs, things like that. I brewed a lot of beer. But yeah, sour beer takes longer.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have beer in the meantime. So why not brew a mild? Why not brew a
Right.
an ESB? Why not brew
Well,
an IPA?
I love that you love sours and you have no issues with kettle souring because sometimes you see people
Well, there's the purists
Thank you, yeah.
aren't gonna appreciate
my dad's
a
one of
fast
those people.
sour. And it's not. I think it's just something that's in your toolbox.
Right.
So if you have a brewer's toolbox, you have a lot of different techniques, you have a lot of different methods. Why not do a kettle sour if you want to make a fast sour beer?
Yeah.
And as
all
long as
about
it's not
making beer.
it's not as long as it's not a dirty sock or a baby diaper, then if your beer is clean, what's the problem?
Absolutely.
It's not our focus,
Right.
but we do the we do the Berliner Weiss. We do
You're not
Gose.
above it though, and I think that's
I think
cool.
I think whatever tools you have at your disposal, you should use them effectively.
Right.
No, as long as your beer is good and your quality is high, that's really your main focus. You should make clean beer.
Quality is definitely
Quality should be job one. Ford all the way. I'm not a Ford guy. I've got a Toyota, but
don't worry, that's my dad's truck.
nice.
I'm not a Ford guy.
They're
either.
right. Quality is job one, and that should be the case with beer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just it kind of just came from there. Yeah, we got our shit together and opened a brewery.
That's awesome. That's great. Weedy, you are next. Just how you got started.
You're up. Yeah, you're up, dude.
How you ended up in Tombstone, Arizona, or living in Bisbee.
Oh, man. Well, I was born in 1990.
All right.
No. So
You're 3 years younger than me. I already hate myself. All right, cool. Keep going. I'm sad. No.
I feel so fucking old.
This side of the table fucking feels old. I'm sorry.
And I just feel like a piece of shit who hasn't done anything yet. I'm not doing anything fun like that. God damn it, Weedy.
I started brewing at home in Alabama I think I was 19. I brewed 300 gallons a year in a 750 square foot apartment for my first 2 years of college.
Did you have carpet in that place?
Yeah.
How did you do that? Carefully?
I was gonna say
Carefully?
carefully.
Tarps? I don't know.
Well, I mean, my wife, she's sitting in the tap room right now. She always makes fun of me. I got to a point I couldn't sleep without the sound of fermentation going on.
Oh my god!
It was all in my bedroom. I would get the bedroom down to like 50 degrees. I'd put a bunch of fans in there. You'd be
You didn't get your deposit back, did you?
Actually, that guy, he never actually
No deposit.
So he never actually told me why I wasn't getting my deposit after 60 days. So I got my deposit back.
Nice.
You're like, quiet. Just put on an extra sweatshirt. We're lagering tonight. Honey.
The likelihood that I should have got my deposit back. That's a different story.
Oh, that's great.
So I got tired of living in Troy, Alabama, and I moved back home to Huntsville, and I got luckily hired at Blue Pants Brewery back in Madison, Alabama. And I worked there. I got hired there when I was 21. I worked there for a little over a year when they made a decision to send me to brewing school.
Nice.
I attended the World Brewing Academy at Siebel and Doman's. And then after doing 3 months of schooling, I was back at Blue Pants, and I stayed there for up until a year ago. And I realized that it was just time. I was ready for a change.
Yeah.
That the production brewery lifestyle is not something that I ever really intended to get into when I started. It's a really tough life. It really requires a lot of hours. I was working minimum of 60 hours a week, but it was not uncommon at all to work 80 hours a week. There were sometimes there's one day I did a 26-hour brew day. I went home, I slept for 3 hours. I turned around, I went back, and I bottled beer the next day.
Holy cow.
It's really tough when you're a small to medium-sized brewery and you're trying to grow, and you're in a prohibitive state like Alabama is. And so I realized I was ready for a change. And I
not to interrupt you, but just for some of our listeners, tell us about some of the you were saying how hard it is to be a brewery in some of those states, just for Alabama.
Yeah, so it's a strict 3-tier system. At the time, you couldn't even sell. This has changed. It changed about 2 months before I left Blue Pants, but it changed where you couldn't. You were not allowed to sell beer to go from the brewery.
Wow.
Until 2012, you were not allowed to sell beer for on-site consumption. And then there was a lot of politics that went into it. Like at one point, some legislators were trying to limit to where you couldn't do anything more than sample beers in your tap room.
It's awful.
Pint sales were supposed to be prohibited. Just a lot of stuff like that. The taxes are incredibly high.
Hard to survive. Would seem.
I mean, at a place like that where, you might expect a half barrel keg to be sold for $5 a pint at a retailer. That means the retailer expected to pay $160 a pint. That means the brewery charged the distributor $80. Not a pint. Sorry.
I gotcha.
$160 a keg.
Right.
And that means the brewery charged the distributor $80 a keg. So that's not leaving a lot of room for
Not a lot to work with.
Yeah. So you start coming up with, how can I either do it inexpensively, or how can I do it? How can I work the costs down to where I can make a profit? And it doesn't work out. It really, it's just way too difficult. If you don't have a thriving tap room, or you don't have really high volume sales, it's just really hard to succeed there. And that was not the life that I ever imagined for myself when I started brewing. I always imagined that one day I was going to be a brewery owner, and I was going to do like a small brewing system, like a 7-barrel system or a 3-barrel system, and that I was going to sell everything on site. And you don't try to get rich off of that type of thing. You just try to have a good lifestyle. Yeah. And once I realized that I wasn't being true to the reasons that I got into the industry, I realized it was time to make a change. And it had made a stress on my home life with my wife and everything. So it was just time.
Working 26 hours in a brew day, man. Holy cow.
It's a long day.
That's serious.
That hasn't gone away being here, but the likelihood of it happening.
I was going to say
low.
how often it occurs.
I met Matt on Pro Brewer, and just got really lucky that there was actually a brewer that had been hired before me for Tombstone. A lot of people don't know that. I'm technically the second brewer. That guy never actually brewed on the system, but he had been a Miller brewer or a Coors brewer, I think.
Okay.
And he went through some personal stuff that prevented him from moving out here. So Matt got into a time crunch and was looking for a brewer quickly. I sent him an email telling him that I was considering moving, and he said, "Can I call you now?"
I'll call you right now.
So Matt and I, after he saw my resume, he called me immediately almost, and I think that was actually the.
I'll pour something.
Pour it for him. Man's in the middle of a story.
Yeah, so I just got really lucky, and Matt called me that day. We talked for about an hour, and I got off the phone with him, and I did not. In the ad that he had posted on Pro Brewer, he didn't say that Tombstone Brewing was the place. So when he told me on the phone, I got off the phone with him an hour later, like having had an awesome conversation with a guy that I got along with well, and I was like, no fucking way I'm moving to Tombstone, Arizona. I really thought that Tombstone was a fictional place. I did not realize that there was a city named Tombstone. That's a little ridiculous.
That's like Nate.
That can't be real.
Yeah, Nate, same way. That's funny.
What?
Well, you knew it was real, but you didn't know.
I've never seen the movies or understand what happened
history.
at OK Corral. Whoops.
Or the history behind Tombstone.
So after I got off the phone, I was actually kind of making fun. I was like, man, like this guy was awesome. I really want to go work for this guy. He sounds like he's got it going on, but like Tombstone, Arizona, how can a brewery succeed there? And I started looking into it, and I saw Bisbee so close, and my wife and I bought a house there. And now it's like we have this awesome lifestyle in Bisbee. It's like just a great like indie kind of artsy town, great place to be, and get to come to work and dream job in Tombstone. And I couldn't have ever imagined that the reception would be what it is. So I mean, there's really no complaints at all. It's really like the perfect situation.
I was gonna say, man, you're a hit. It's the beer you make.
So John, you kind of talked about that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that laws from state to state are completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So for Arizona, we've actually become a little more. We have some laws that changed in the last couple of years that helped a lot with collabs and other like growler fills and that kind of stuff. What are some of the challenges you guys faced in actually New Mexico?
Well, the biggest challenge I think I have is that the sour beer culture isn't quite there yet in New Mexico.
Okay.
I think we're developing. It's kind of coming along. So the kind of beer I've decided to brew is not, it's not in everyone's palate yet. There's a lot of people that are like, ooh, what's that? And speaking of that, we're drinking this.
This is
very sour.
Damn, John.
This is
very sour beer.
Damn, John, you're good.
It's
all right,
really good beer, though.
We are drinking.
Segue. This guy.
Damn, John. So new fashioned.
Hey, hold that over the mixer, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it. You got the new fashions from Pure Project.
It's
We
not
actually
full
drove.
anymore.
We drove to San Diego 3 or 4 weeks ago and picked this up.
Yeah, we actually had entered a
And,
lottery. This is Nate's. No, this is Jeff's bottle.
No, that's my bottle.
This is your bottle?
That's my
so
bottle.
Nate's wife's bottle, I mean.
I saw we were dealing with a guy who owned a brewery called Farmhouse Ales, and I thought it might be a good idea to bring a
No,
sour.
it's a good fit. I thank you for sharing this beer. It's delightful.
Now you said Jester King, as I have a sour collab that they did with that Jester King did with Wilderness. I had a couple bottles sitting in my
Oh,
fridge.
nice. That's the what is it? The
Shit.
Stuffing.
Buford's.
The stuffing
It's
from.
called
that
Stuff.
one. Okay, that's a little different. Yeah,
Yeah, and I should have brought
They
one.
had a
Nate's saving
beer to
that for
guard.
Thanksgiving.
Right.
that was
Yep.
really good with the it Buford on the label. What was that called? Buford's Roadhouse.
Yeah,
Or, some Buford's. I don't know. It was like a little farmer's market kind of thing off to the side of the road. I don't.
Nice.
It was a beer to guard though. It was really good. I don't remember the exact name.
and we are, and like John's saying, we are drinking that new fashion from Pure Project. It's a sour red. Looks like it was aged in bourbon barrels. It's their take on the old fashioned, apparently.
How does everybody think that?
And,
I'm with Weedy and
they
John.
did the
it's
bourbon doesn't
sour
have
as
cherries.
fuck, but
It is sour.
It's really
but it's
sour.
delightful.
But it's a nice sour. It's not a.
It's very good.
It's yeah.
everybody got
it's
plenty here. We got a
bracingly
little
sour,
more to
but it's
kill
not
off.
going to kill you kind of sour.
I definitely get some of that orange peel, bourbony.
I was gonna
there's
say
a nice bourbon note there. I like it. Yeah, sour reds are one of my favorites.
And the label is definitely Madman-ish. I mean,
Yeah.
it's totally Madman.
Yeah,
That's how it
there's-
works.
They're very Mad Men.
That's a crazy bottle too. It's
the shape of the way they got
it's
that
a
label
big,
on there.
thick bottle. Yeah, you have to have a very nice hand to get that
Yeah.
label on there
batch
without
two.
Yeah, we
kinking it.
right. Yeah,
Who's telling us that? Somebody-
Chase
was, right?
Chase gave us a fucked up label bottle because he couldn't figure it out yet. No, I'm not a huge fan of barrel aged anything. If I'm a huge fan,
Okay.
no, whiskey barrel,
bourbon
whiskey. I love barrel aged sours and all that stuff. Please
Right.
hook it up. But no, bourbon, whiskey, that stuff. Not a huge fan, and this is awesome.
This beer is really
I
nice. Thank you
love
guys for
it.
sharing it with us.
Please, man. As soon as you guys invited us up, I was like, we need to bring something really good. So hopefully,
Yeah, there's like a raspberry kind of note to it. Yeah, a lot of bourbon, very sour, but not unapproachably sour.
yeah, not for us.
Yeah, no, not for us at all.
And I was
I
gonna say
love
not
sours.
for you. I'm not surprised not for you, John.
Well, I mean, I do like sour beer.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like sour.
So, is there laws? How are laws differently in Mexico compared to here?
New Mexico is pretty mild. I think it's not like Alabama where Weedy had to deal with stuff like that. The brewery situation in New Mexico is pretty reasonable.
Good.
Every brewery can have 3 tap rooms on their same license besides their main location, which has to be attached to a brewery.
Right.
So that's kind of nice. I mean, if you
Yeah.
wanted to have 3 locations throughout the state besides your own tap room, you could do that, and it's not prohibitive. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
They definitely want to keep your beer in state if they can.
Yeah. I think comparative, it's like California has 6, I believe. We just
Wow, that's a
listened
lot.
to. Yeah.
You can do 6 remote tasting rooms.
Yeah.
You can't do another brewery, but you can actually have
Yeah,
6 tasting
6.
rooms.
Well, that's even more progressive than
Yeah,
New Mexico. New Mexico is generally not progressive.
But a lot
our
of good
governor
beer coming out of there.
There's a lot of good beer. New Mexico, we're especially Albuquerque. They've got quite a big scene in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
It's very, very IPA centric, but it's not very hazy IPA centric.
Okay.
I would say
And the Agent Scully was a good indicator of that. Super clear.
that beer is not meant to be very.
And it was
It's more West Coast than East Coast.
delicious.
I do like that beer a lot. Thank you.
I do.
appreciate
I do
that.
too,
So
John.
I
It's gonna be
actually
a
think
hug.
that was an interesting commentary because that beer was not super clear. It was
Yeah.
appropriately clear for a well
Right, you're right.
or well conditioned beer.
And that's how I have been.
It was not like a filtered beer. It was
It's not a filter beer.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm so jaded on hazy beers. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is the clearest. fucking
yeah.
thing
That's
I've
that's the
ever
thing.
seen.
It's like we're starting
Good
to see
point,
now
man.
like a well fined beer. Like
Yeah.
that to me is the way an
Good
IPA
point.
like traditionally should look. It's not
Agreed.
not extremely clear. It was that was a perfect example.
It's also a beer that you can't tell now because you're seeing it at a certain point in time. But when we first brew it, we first have it in kegs. It's a little cloudier than that.
Is it?
Yeah, I do
That's
try.
a great point, though, man.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it settles out.
I'll say Weed's going on my book now because he's correcting you now, so I like that a lot. He's correcting Nate.
But do you like it because he's correcting me and I agree with him?
It went down just a little bit because you agreed. I was like, oh,
No,
lost.
absolutely. I'm so jaded on hazy beers. I'm
Yeah.
just like, look at this thing. It's so clear and
Well, I think-
delicious.
Well, it's like with the hazy thing right now, it's like people are going like, man, can you make it hazier? It's
Yeah.
like, make it look like a fucking milkshake.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Can you put some
Problem
chunks
is,
in it?
Haziness does not equate to juiciness,
Right.
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you have a beer that's hazed on purpose with flour or something, aggressive like that, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Haze is a byproduct
Yeah.
of what you're trying to achieve flavor-wise in an ideal situation.
yes,
You should not be adding flour to achieve that
no,
haze.
it's not. It's not going to get you into the right place. Your beer should be hazy because of your process, not because you're trying to make it hazy.
And we were
So-
talking a little before. I mean,
And your process should be about the flavor and the aroma,
Yes.
not about the appearance.
Exactly.
Right.
The appearance is a byproduct, and it should be that way. And so, when people try to do hazy beer with, unintentionally,
Yeah.
or intentionally,
Right.
it should be unintentional. It should not be intentional.
and the flour from mouthfeel.
I think that's just ridiculous.
Okay. It seems
sorry.
it
We
seems
can
a
find
little-
some flour and throw it into your glass right now. Let's see what you think.
I just put my arm on his shoulder. I'm like, please,
No, please
get
don't
me
do
some
that to
flour.
me.
No.
No,
That's awesome. It's interesting to get the take. Honestly, it
if
really
you brew
is.
a beer correctly in an IPA, New England IPA, it should be juicy, and it could be slightly hazy, even aggressively hazy.
Yeah, but not as a result of I wanted to make that hazy.
exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. I love that.
And yeah, Weedy will tell you more about it than me. He's the expert, not me.
Well, I was going to ask Weedy about the 10.
Right,
We
we
want to talk a little bit about the collab with the 10. You guys did that with Wren House, Tombstone, and Pueblo Vita.
Please
Where'd you get
do
that?
it again.
Where'd you get that
we
honey,
need more
Weedy?
of that, dude.
Because I remember we did the episode with Wren, and they said that Tombstone brought a bunch of honey. And tell us a little bit about that.
So we got some killer bees down here.
I was saying it was like killer bee honey.
Africanized bees.
and yeah, so there was a tree that fell, and there was some honey that was in the tree. The bees were flying around it, and the police got called. So the police got called. They tried to take care of it. They showed up, and they got stung by a bunch of bees. That's what they get.
It's just what happened. It's just what happened.
Fuck the police. And then
No.
and then the police, I don't know who they called next. The police called somebody else. They got stung a bunch.
And they got stung a bunch too.
I feel like we should be drinking some 480 OG right now.
Yeah, no shit.
yeah.
Chubby blue line.
So then there's actually this killer bee honey guy in Bisbee. And I think his name's Dave. He's got this awesome ringtone.
Dave,
It's
the
like
killer bee honey
if
guy.
you ever call him and you go to voicemail, he's like, sorry, you missed me. I'm out buzzing around.
Boom.
Oh,
I'm
my
out
God.
buzzing
Yeah.
around.
Great, like
All right,
when
Dave.
you just call people on the phone. They actually had a voicemail. And they were like, "Hey, what's going on?"
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Hey, not here right now.
Leave a message.
Oh, yeah. God damn it.
So from my understanding, Matt told Dave that he wants some honey, and Dave goes and gets the honey and leaves the bees behind.
You got what you needed for the collaboration. All good.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well, I mean, I think Luke was telling us that like they were like trying to like shake dead bees out of whatever they gave
Yeah,
them.
they
'cause
said
were
they're-
still-
they're-
There was a lot of solids in that.
Yeah, they said
in
they
that honey.
filter a bunch out of that.
Well, so it was filtered sort of. I think it was like filtered like through a mesh filter when it went in there. But there was, I mean, we were tasting that honey, and there was
Still
like
some chunkies.
yeah, there was like granular stuff, and there might have been a few bees. I don't know.
A beer can be brewed with a bee. That's fine.
yeah, it's parts per million, right? We're
Well, yeah,
It got boiled.
I can't remember what it is, but there's
They're organic.
There is like a very high acceptable rate of bee parts in honey, and I mean I don't know what it is, but I know like I don't know
I'm good with it.
exactly what the number is, but I know I heard it and it's alarming. It's like
It's alarming.
it's like we have all definitely ingested several bees.
Probably, yeah. Especially if you drink mead.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yes,
Yeah, that too.
and we do because we have
Yes.
Superstition Meadery. Unfortunately, not.
Have
too
they
far
made a
west.
whole hive mead yet?
I know. Yes, yeah, I have no
That would
idea.
be like that. Like you just throw the whole
yeah,
hive
I was
in
gonna say
there
just
and ferment it.
chuck the whole thing in.
It's a stir.
Yeah, there's a lot of bees in those.
All right, Chris.
It's kind of gross.
So
B Chunks IPA.
there. God damn, we name
Ooh,
a
I
lot
like
of beers on the
that.
show. In case you're wondering, we name beers on the show a lot, so
That's awesome.
you can have them for free. You're welcome.
The B Chunky IPA.
I'm gonna start paying attention now.
Yeah,
Yeah, naming beers is not easy.
yeah. Leave some of them for us for our home brews, but other than that, we're totally okay.
Hey, we're getting a lot of downloads in Tombstone for some reason.
It's just one. It's in Bisbee. Come on.
Someone in Tombstone's downloaded all of our episodes.
Right.
Dude, I'm running on fumes here. I got to get some names.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of swear words. I'm sorry. Your mom's gonna be really upset.
Sorry, Weedy's
disappointed. Disappointed. She'd be disappointed.
That's even worse.
No.
Everybody on here is grounded.
yeah. Everybody here is grounded. All right.
So you guys collab together. What are some past collabs and future collabs that you actually had enjoyed and or looking forward to?
And that is not a required response, but
No.
I mean, anything from the past or the future got going on?
Well, we've done some local collabs. We did one with a coffee house called Iconic Coffee Roasters or something like that. They're in Santa Fe. They're pretty good. They do a great job with their coffee. We did a coffee Berliner Weiss.
Oh,
So we actually did a coffee with we did the Germophile base, but we added Brett to it to add a little bit of complexity. The Germophile typically doesn't have Brett. We do 2 Berliner Weisses normally. One's a beer we call Ab Initio, which is kind of means from the beginning, and that's a beer we brew with Sonoran white wheat, which is grown here in Tucson.
right. Yes.
We buy our wheat from BKW Farms. So Sonoran white wheat is heirloom wheat. It's really beautiful.
Nice.
And I know the Arizona Wilderness guys use one too.
yeah.
I don't know if they get it from the same place. But BKW, I'll give them a shout out. They're awesome.
Nice.
And then we use Brett to finish that after we do the souring.
That coffee though, that sounds.
And then
nuts.
we dry hopped it. We actually did a whirlpool with coffee, and then we dry hopped it with coffee.
That's awesome.
And we bottled that a couple days ago.
That sounds delicious.
So that one's not finished yet.
Yeah.
But other than that, I haven't really done any collaborations with other breweries.
yeah.
So how's the guy get a bottle of that one?
Yeah.
I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, ooh, that sounds
that sounds
incredible.
Yeah.
Who do we have to arm wrestle to get some of that?
Well, do we have to drive to New Mexico? Because we will.
Well, hopefully we can have beer here in
Yes,
Arizona
right.
sooner than later. We're
Absolutely.
working on that. I don't really have any details with that yet.
Love your can, by the way. Just
Thank you.
a quick shout out. I love the can.
The can is actually designed by an Arizona man, Thomas DeCaro. He's the rep here for Great Divide.
Ah.
And he used to be a rep for Ballast Point in New Mexico, but he left working for them. He moved to Phoenix, and now he's the Great Divide rep here.
Yeah, that's a good looking can.
No, I'll say this:
It's very sensitive environment with sexual harassment, Nate. You probably shouldn't be telling people you like their can.
You got a nice can, man.
Well,
You make
the
a real classy can.
the black one.
Calm down, Kevin
The black
Spacey.
friggin' with
this is the second color we did. We did a black
Blue.
one. This is the Smurf.
Oh, okay.
Smurf
the
blue.
black. It's friggin' sexy ass.
I'm gonna take
fuck.
one of these. I'm gonna try and pull the label off and put it on my fridge. That's
Yep.
gonna happen.
Good luck. And I'll say this: I like the T-shirts you guys did with the deadhead and then the rose above it. I thought
Yeah,
that was
Really?
I'm not
really
wearing
cool.
one tonight.
No
but
shit.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
thing's fucking rad.
We did a steal your face with our rose in the center.
That's
You know.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah, I know. I was
So I
like,
love the Grateful Dead. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
well,
that's awesome.
you and I we're good
Yep.
friends.
No, me and John are good.
Yeah,
me and,
copacetic.
well, Meaty and
Me and
Weedy are
John are
good. So
good.
what's up now, Nate?
Well, we're all good. There's no
yeah,
question here.
there's
We're
no
all good.
groups, dude.
Divided. Jeff, who team you're on?
All right, so here,
Who's got the beer, man?
yeah, whoever's pouring the next
Who's
beer,
got the next
I'm on
beer?
that
I'm on
team. Yeah, what are we? We're drinking. We've already discussed what we're drinking here so far. We do have another one to open from you guys over there at Rowley. What do we have left?
I think the last one is Conduit.
No, that was Conduit right there.
Oh, okay.
I just passed around Conduit.
We passed around Conduit.
Okay, I was gonna say. 'cause
Oh, it's
this-
right there.
I was gonna say
Here's
John.
this shit is empty and it just got to me.
That's my fault.
That's a problem.
That's Conduit, and then we actually have one more after
This
that.
is the delicious smelling Agent Scully. She smells so good.
No, so Conduit is the same beer as the Agent Scully season 1 episode 4,
Okay.
but we made a mistake. We actually pitched Ardennes Belgian yeast into it instead of the London 3 ale yeast, and so we've put a little spin on it. So in season 1, episode 4 of the X-Files, Samantha Mulder gets abducted by the aliens, right?
Nice.
And it's a core theory. It's a core story. Goes throughout the X-Files.
Absolutely. Yep.
That episode was called Conduit.
Okay.
So what we did was this
is our second X-Files themed beer of the night.
So we're
Doesn't
positing
get any better.
that that while Samantha Mulder was abducted, she was abducted by Belgian brewers, and she gave us.
That's right. I read that. That whole.
So I put it on Untapped. That was the description of that beer.
Right.
So yeah, this turns out to be a Belgian IPA.
Nice. Awesome.
Unintentional, but quite. It worked out pretty well.
I was gonna say, I'm excited to try it.
Yeah.
So, I read an article somewhere and our very quick trying to recon and sneaky, background of you, John, that you said it was, I'm not going to air quote here, but that Belgian brewers actually spray sometimes their brewery down with their beer.
Sure.
And that you guys were going to do that. Have you done that yet?
We have not done that yet. That was one thing I actually talked to Weedy about that today.
Really?
Let's not go into that story.
In a different context. But that was one thing we were talking about doing in our cellar.
Okay.
But I brewed a beer with some dregs of brews that I really like, Cantillon, Dreyfont, and
Oh, nice.
You guys have a lot of Cantillon Instagram photos. I was pretty jealous.
I love Cantillon. Yeah. Their beer is fantastic. We would be honored to be able to pour their beer all the time. We do have some of their beer already.
Do you really?
Yeah, we've got a decent connection with Shelton Brothers
Nice.
in New Mexico, and I know Shelton Brothers just came here.
They did.
I know. We're
after
hoping
a
to
long
see some of
hiatus.
that.
It's a lot more from them,
I think Arizona has a good chance of seeing more.
Yep. I haven't seen any just yet.
Yeah,
but
I saw.
We're excited.
I saw there was a little bit that made it here, like a small pallet or whatever.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good,
Whoops.
dude.
Oh, ruined the podcast. Start over.
But I think you guys are set because you have a good sized market here, and the more of it that you buy, the more of it they will send you.
Done.
So
We're in.
I think it's important that you guys keep buying it.
Yeah.
When it comes, buy it.
Yep.
Tag Noah Abrams in this post.
Noah Abrams, he's I don't know if you know the Super Jew.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
He's a big guy in the Belgian lambic
okay.
world.
All right.
He's in Tucson.
Is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's at the
He'll buy a pallet of Cantillon on his own.
I know.
Holy shit.
He buys a lot of Cantillon, but he doesn't buy it from here. He buys it from somewhere else.
I was gonna say, where does
So
he
it
get
may not help you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't help
as
me.
a whole.
I even had Cantillon.
you have to buy it. You have to buy it here. So
I
go
haven't-
to Tap and Bottle. Go to all
Yeah.
the Phoenix places.
I haven't had Cantillon since I was in Belgium, so it's a bit of an it's unfortunate where I'm at for
So
distribution.
somehow we have to make best friends with that guy.
Yeah,
What
we
you're
can be
saying.
friends with that dude.
Yeah.
Noah Abrams, write it down.
No,
Get you
Noted.
on the show.
We'll drink some Cantillon.
yeah.
Be a good
The
time.
more Cantillon you guys can buy, the more chance you'll have to buy it later.
Excellent.
That's important, I think.
Are you hearing that, Phoenix? And everybody else in Arizona?
Yeah, don't fuck
Buy
around
some
when the
fucking
Shelton
Cantillon.
brothers starts handing it
Yeah,
out.
and the Dreyfonten too. Buy the bottles,
Yes.
and then they will come.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's important because I see that in other markets. They don't buy enough bottles, and then
They lose it.
it kind of dries up, and that's not good. Very, very unpleasant.
It's all me.
Yeah, it's all you.
Ah, damn it.
I was going to ask you guys, I mean, honestly, and it's a question for both of you, and how is your brewery or your beer connected to your local area? I mean, we've touched on it a little, but,
I think
especially
we have
for
a
you,
pretty
John.
good connection with the locals. We have a fairly wide core of people that come, daily, every other day, that kind of thing, weekly,
Right.
to try the new beers. I think Santa Fe is a little smaller town, not small as Tombstone per se, but we're a fairly small market.
Yeah.
Albuquerque is a larger market. It's more on the size of Tucson. I think there's more breweries in Albuquerque than Tucson.
Yeah.
Tucson's moving up though. I mean, you always hear about new ones.
Oh, yeah.
There's new ones all the time. Phoenix, I don't know how many breweries are in Phoenix.
I don't know off the top either. We probably should have stats like that.
we probably should.
Yeah, no, we don't. Need
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, Phoenix is a large
You guys should
city.
get your shit together.
I'll say this.
You guys should get your shit together. That was good. That was really good.
we were in the top 10 for number of breweries in one area. Phoenix was, but it doesn't mean we.
They're going all the time, but yeah, no, and still people coming around to sours.
Yeah, I think for us in New Mexico, that's
You're helping build that.
I'm trying to do my part.
sure.
There's not a lot of sour breweries in New Mexico. There's breweries that do an occasional sour.
Yeah,
I know La Cumbre does a few kettle sour versions. They won't use Brettanomyces at all,
Really?
just because he doesn't want to infect the brewery, and that's
Gotcha.
fine. Marble, Marble out of Albuquerque.
yes.
They do a couple really nice beers. They do a Cuvée Rouge, which is a Flanders Red,
Okay.
barrel-aged Flanders Red. It's really nice. They do it once a year. I think they just released that recently. Besides that, I know Boxing Bear. You've probably heard of them.
Yep.
They do a black and blue sour once a year,
Nice.
and I'm thinking it's a kettle sour beer with some fruit, but I can't remember what it is. Blackberry. It's like blackberry raspberry combo, something like that. It's really good.
Can't go wrong.
No, it's a good beer. I mean, there's a lot of the breweries will do one or two of them, but a lot of them won't focus on that.
Right.
So we try to focus on that. We do other beers like the Conduit Belgian IPA,
You mean-
unintentional Belgian IPA.
Right.
But it's a good beer. I mean, you're drinking it now. You tell me what you think.
Awesome. Love it. What about you? What about you two?
I'm
on your phone-
I'm a
phones?
huge fan of the Belgian IPA.
Yeah,
I was introduced to it with it was
The
like
Brett on that.
was it?
It's nice.
I can't remember. It's like Hopsonjeur or Hopsonjeur or whatever. I was in Washington D.C. and we went to Brasserie Beck, and their beer menu is like Cheesecake Factory. They give you this binder with like 100 fucking pages,
like, woo,
and I was
look
like,
at
"What do
all
you
this
pick?" And so it's like I couldn't pick anything from all
It's
these
almost too
pages.
much
And the
when you
guy's
see
the
so
guy's like,
many.
"What do you like?" And I was like, "Well, I like IPAs." And he's like, "Well, have you ever had a Belgian IPA?" And I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck is
What are you
that?"
doing here, man?
And so he had that, and then Stone did like their Cali Belgique, and
That
so.
beer is good, yeah.
But yeah, I dig this. This is
You'll like it.
really
Yeah.
good.
Absolutely. For a Brett IPA, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm busy counting breweries. So
Yeah, don't worry about it. Weedy,
No, he's doing his research. He's
It's-
after it. Look at him. He's
same
getting
question
after
to you. Just how is your beer local to your area? I mean, as far as even for your ingredients, or how is it connected to? But even if it's just to people, I mean,
So we don't have a local connection with our ingredients for sure.
Right.
Our ingredients are coming from England, Germany, and Pacific Northwest, Michigan. But as far as our local customers go, we have a good amount of people that come in on a regular basis. Tombstone is really a town that's built around tourism.
yes.
So we've got maybe 15 to 20 locals that we see on a almost daily basis. And that's actually pretty cool to see in a small town. It's nice to get to know some of the locals. Anytime you see a horse tied up out front, you know that's somebody local. So, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, our business has revolved around tourism and selling up to Phoenix, and then we've got like our 15 to 20 hardcore local customers, and it's awesome to see cowboys coming in, riding in on their horses, and drinking hazy IPAs.
That's pretty cool. I have to say that when I pulled up here the very first time, when I came here, I don't know when it was, in the summer. It was really green here at the time I first came here. There was, 2 hitching posts out front. I'm like, what the fuck, man? What breweries have hitching posts for their horses out front? But yeah, it actually works. It's a good fit.
Need
It's a
them.
good fit.
Need to use them.
No, it's
Yeah,
cool. It's cool that they actually use
it's
them.
a common occurrence that we see somebody ride up from town on their horse.
There was one time at the
awesome.
brewery in Santa Fe Brewing Company. There was a guy who rode up on a jackass.
Nice.
Yeah, and he sat there. He had a couple beers and he took off. I was like, "What the fuck?" So yeah, it's not unheard of,
Yeah.
but it's not common.
right.
Right.
Hey, if you're on a mule, like
Yeah,
they're more sure-footed than we are in a car. So
yeah. That's probably smart. Probably smart.
No kidding.
86, in case anybody's wondering. 86 in Central. The Brewers Guild has it divided by North, Central, and South. 86 in the Central.
86 is a lot.
That's a lot.
86 is a lot.
That includes
86
Tucson,
is a
though. It's actually Tucson is
Okay.
considered central, I guess. So
okay.
there's one in the south, which is just you guys, I guess. I don't know. No, it's fucking. I have no clue. I didn't look.
There's got to be more than one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Nogales Brewing.
There you go.
Is there one in Nogales?
God damn it! I gotta look now. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Tombstone's not getting a lot of competition here in Tombstone itself.
Well, there's one in Bisbee too, right?
Yeah, there's a
There's
brewery in
brewery.
Bisbee.
Is there? Okay. All right.
All right, I don't. This list is completely fucked
There's
up because it just
actually-
said 12 West is in Gilbert, which is in the south. So this
Okay.
don't.
Fuck that.
So we've
list.
Don't
actually
look at that
talked a little bit about collaborating with some breweries in Nogales, Sonora, in
Oh,
Mexico.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That'd be cool.
That's very cool.
Are you getting, wait, can we get them here though?
Yeah,
we
you
have to go to
bring
fucking
Oh, no.
Rocky Point to get drink the beers.
They got better tacos than we do.
Oh, Jesus.
True.
Probably, yeah.
True.
Street tacos are delicious.
Yeah. There you go.
Have you been to the Boca Taco on 4th Avenue in Tucson?
No,
It's really good.
I'm going.
You should go-
I
you
live
should go
3
there.
miles from the border, so
So yeah, you
I was gonna say.
already got it going on. Hop over. You have a passport? Can you go anytime you want?
yeah, I go
Nice.
once, twice a week.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's
Matt
probably
and
cheap too, like 50 cents for a taco.
it's about $1 for a taco.
$1 still better than 6.
But we're getting some incredible tacos. Matt and I, we go there pretty regularly together to a place, Asadero Las Molcajetes, right there in
Nice. Sounds tasty.
Naco.
Yeah, it just sounds good. I even know.
But then there's this great
Serious.
seafood
Sounds
place.
good.
Yeah, about 20 miles from our house, there's a great seafood place, Lapa Lapa. We're all about the fresh seafood platter there.
Hey,
Nice.
They got it going on.
there you go.
Very cool.
Well,
Plenty to do here in
I
Tombstone.
said, speaking of food, you actually guys focus on food a lot.
We do have a large food component. We have a gastropub
Oh
type of
wow!
setup.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I did not know
no.
that.
Well, Santa Fe is a foodie town,
Is it?
and in order for us to really open a brewery there, we didn't want to rock the boat because we had learned pretty early on in our process that
Nice call, Weedy.
that food was going to be a requirement.
Yeah, that's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment.
That's
And
a whole other business.
It's a second business. Basically, we're all rolled into one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still paying for that. It's expensive, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
We'll get all that equipment paid off by June,
Oh wow.
which is nice. That'll free us up for more brewing.
Nice.
But yeah, we have a full kitchen installed, which was
That's awesome.
it was expensive.
I was gonna say you're like it's not awesome, but it was expensive.
It was.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's
It is-
it's awesome and it's expensive.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of breweries can get away without that,
Yeah.
and
Well, it's kind of what a lot of breweries are just doing now. I mean, they're
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
another
order
thing
in,
is-
bring in food. I mean, I
Yeah.
literally saw people like having a picnic in there.
well, my business partner, who's the general manager of our brewery, he's a chef. He's like a 25-year chef. He's been doing this for a long time.
Very
He's
cool.
fantastic.
Very cool.
His menu is always changing. He's doing like quarterly updates.
That's your business partner.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he runs the
That's
the
kind of a
day-to-day.
fun. That's kind of a
Yeah,
chef is what his kind of his forte. and
He's
brewing
worked out
is
really
yours.
well. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
worked. I mean, he does
Well,
a great job
That's
with that.
fun.
I was gonna say, like, we've been told that, and you probably heard on the PB thing, Kyle said that if he wasn't a brewer, he'd want to be a chef. Is that true for you guys too?
Well, I
Would
cook
you
a
guys
lot at home.
Cook a lot
I mean,
too.
I'm a big fan of whipping up some fun stuff.
All right.
Hell yeah.
You can do a lot better by yourself than you can. Maybe you go to the Mexican taco place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you just go there instead?
I can't compete with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even gonna
Yeah, but
try.
It's a lot of fun though, right?
Do you enjoy cooking though at all?
Yeah, I love cooking, but if I was not a brewer,
I was just gonna say, what were you gonna be, Weedy, if you weren't a brewer?
Well, so I was originally a music education major. So
Okay,
I was going
all
to be
right.
a band director.
a lot of people say dentist.
Dentist, which is really weird
We
to
get
us.
a lot
Yeah,
of
dentists
dentists.
and scientists. A lot of dentists and scientists and IT people. Fucking
IT people.
Yeah.
Weeble was an IT guy, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I was not
That's-
far
that's
away
how
from
we
a
met.
music
Nice.
education degree, so I'd probably just
stick with that.
We're
yeah,
stuck with that.
yeah. But, I mean, I love cooking, but I don't want to have to please a bunch of people.
I want to cook a bunch of food.
Well, I mean, that's one thing about cooking. Yeah, you have to please the people, right?
Right.
Otherwise, they're gonna yell at you and what the fuck is this shit?
Nah, I always said I wanted to be a maltster. Actually,
Maltster, that'd be
It
cool.
would be a lot of fun to be a maltster.
Nice.
What is a maltster? for our
I mean,
listeners and
you're going out and you're taking all these grains and you're malting them. I mean,
okay, that's what I assumed was a malter, but for our listeners, I just wanted to confirm.
Flour
For me.
malting is a good thing. Yeah.
I thought it was maybe like when you had a soda fountain, you made a milkshake or anything.
nice.
The best thing about that job is the title. I'm a maltster, motherfucker.
see, the best thing is
that
like
is a badass name.
it's like
is pretty cool.
the worse of a maltster you are, the better job satisfaction you have. So like, I go to Brees and they're like terrible. Okay, so they're going out and you go to their Chilton, Wisconsin factory, your malting house, and they're just like, they're not doing any kind of testing on their malts. They're like pulling these samples out of their roasters or their kilning. They're just going like, looks about right. It's like, that sounds awesome.
Looks good.
So then I go to Wireman. And I'm
That's pretty
like, I see them
qualitative,
in Germany. I'm like seeing them like going through a spectrophotometer. Like, I don't want to do that. Fuck those guys.
I'm done.
You would make a shitty malter.
But I would be on par with Brees though.
Yes.
I want to be one of those close enough guys.
Yeah.
That'll do. That'll do.
Well, in my profession, it's good enough for government work.
There you go. Yeah.
There we
There you
go.
go.
We just poured another beer,
I
right?
say, Weedy just
did.
opened another one. What do we got here, John?
Okay, so we had this beer earlier, the beer with the cork that we couldn't get out
Oh, okay. This was good.
because we didn't have the proper tool to get it out.
Yeah, this was good.
But we did get it out.
We figured it out.
We
We
did.
did.
Figured it out.
Yeah, put a screw in there.
So
pull
this
it
is
right in.
this is a beer we call Saison du Sarlac. It's our meanest saison.
This is batch 2 on here.
Batch 2. Yeah, we've only brewed that beer twice. We're fixing to brew the third batch for the release of the Last Jedi.
Oh,
We're doing an imperial version of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it the First Order Sarlacc.
Jeff's interested.
Yeah.
Jeff is interested.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pique that guy's interest all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
he's
The
hands
first-
in the air like
The
he doesn't
first
care.
order. So
First Order Sarlacc. Yeah, so we're doing like imperial. So we have a good relationship with a yeah, he's got all the tattoos to prove it. That's awesome.
1 or 2.
Got my little first order stormtrooper there. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, that's here. I'll give you a cheers for that. That's
Boom.
solid as fuck.
tink.
So we have a good relationship with a movie theater in Santa Fe called Violet Crown.
Nice.
And what they do is they do like an Alamo Draft House kind of setup where they have 30 taps and they show recent movies or first run movies.
Yeah.
So they're not showing old stuff unless you want them to.
Yeah.
We've done some tap takeovers with them
That's
where we bring our beer in and then we actually get to show a movie that we want. So
That's very
recently we
cool.
did the Blade Runner release. So we played the actual first Blade
I
Runner.
was gonna say Blade Runner, great movie for any of
Yes.
our listeners.
Listen to this. Blade Runner is a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah. Anybody who thinks it's a bad movie,
Yeah, we
it's a
showed
great movie.
the director's cut.
Nice. Of
After-
course, the
you know,
final cut.
Yeah, so we did that with our anyone who emailed us wanted to come in, they get in the movie for free.
Nice.
And we have 2 hours of beer before that, and you can drink beer in the movie theater too.
awesome.
So it's really cool. So we're doing a
Need to get down into
Last Jedi event with them, and
Very
we're
cool.
gonna brew the Imperial or the First Order Sarlacc.
Nice.
We haven't brewed it yet. I think one of my brewers, Tyler, is gonna brew it tomorrow.
Wonderful.
While
That's
I'm here,
awesome.
while I'm here gallivanting, he's
How much longer are you here in Tucson?
No. Tombstone.
Tombstone.
God
Yes.
damn it.
You did it again.
See, it's because I was talking to Weedy earlier and I switched it up. I know where I am. Tombstone.
So Tombstone. Yeah, I'm here for the weekend.
Okay.
I'll go back after the weekend.
Now you guys are just continuing your brew day tomorrow.
No, I think I'm gonna go get some wheat tomorrow.
There you go.
I'm gonna go fill up
To
my
bring-
truck with wheat.
To bring back to New
Bring
Mexico.
back to New Mexico. Yeah.
Nice.
And then Weedy's here tomorrow.
He said,
I'm gonna
he
fuck
said
up the beer tomorrow, and I'm gonna blame John.
right when John leaves. That's when
John
he's gonna-
fucked it up. No, it's fine. Weedy, I have.
John put his
100% faith.
testicles in it.
the dip.
Did you touch my drums?
Just calling it the dip.
I will not do that.
Next beer is called Belgian Dip.
Dude, imagine my fat ass trying to dip my balls through the hole in the tote. Like, that would hurt.
I can see it though.
Physically hurt.
I can
No, no.
see it.
I'm imagining it. It seems like it's gonna work.
Nice.
No.
I can
It would
see
be
it.
like a,
I can
it'd be
see
like a beam with, like a split.
You might get sued, but I think you should call it Fun Dip. Just saying.
Fun dip. Yeah, I used to eat that when I was a kid.
Does it come with a candy stick?
Yeah, the candy stick and the
I'm eating the
flavored
stick.
powders. The stick was edible. You ate the stick. That was part of the deal. You eat the stick.
The series is going to be called Rowley's Testicle Ales.
I'm gonna have to put
Ales.
not safe for work twice in front of this episode, in case you're wondering.
Too funny.
Your mom can never listen to this episode, Weedy. I'm sorry.
I'm
Sorry, Mom. I'm not going to let you listen to that podcast.
Yeah, all right.
What? What is this podcast business?
So as far as other events, what else you guys have going on?
What's going on at Rowley?
Well, so Rowley, we're doing an event. This will probably air after the event, but we're doing like an FAB event
Okay.
for Black Friday. We're serving a bunch of Imperial Stouts.
Dang.
I won't really disparage Anheuser-Busch, but
Please.
No, please.
please
Guess
do.
what? They're not a main listener.
They're not.
honestly.
I'm sure they're not.
They're not looking up for us.
But yeah, I mean, they're not looking out for the little guy, and we
Hoppy Craftsmen brought to
John
you
doesn't
by
want to
Eat-
say too much in case they come knocking with the money.
I guarantee they're like I'm the last person on
We
their list.
love your logo, John. Here's
Love your logo.
$10 million.
They're not. That's not.
No?
So I'll tell you a funny story. There's Brian
Please.
from Santa Fe Brewing Company. Santa Fe Brewing Company is the largest brewery in the state of New Mexico. They probably brewed on the order of, 30,000 barrels last year. So it's respectable volume.
Absolutely.
Respectable volume. I'm not sure if that's the exact number or not. But, he's going in this big expansion, 32 head canning line, all this crazy stuff, 150 barrel batches. Yeah, they're doing a lot of beer.
Yeah.
So we fucked with him a little bit. We said that the Anheuser-Busch rep was in town looking for breweries to buy in the state. And he was like, what? What the? No, I would have heard about that. What are you talking about? That's not true. I'm like, yeah. He was looking at you guys, man. You guys, come on, man. The money's gonna start flowing, bro. And he's like, what the fuck? I didn't hear about that. That's not cool. I'm like, well, I'm just saying.
Should have tried harder.
Saying.
Yeah.
You're not well connected enough. That's
Yeah, you're not well enough connected.
That's funny.
There was no Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't true.
No, but he was a little upset. But yeah,
To say the least.
There's my chance.
there's my money. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think, I'm not saying that he wants to be bought out. I think some people do.
We've covered that in this show multiple times that we respect both sides of it. Frankly.
Yeah, you should.
It is what it is. It is.
People have lives. People have jobs. They have
People
families.
have lives, and that's one of the main things.
And that's the main thing.
They have
Well,
money.
and
You know what? If
we-
someone comes waving a bunch of money at you, you know what? There's only so much you can do about it sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Well,
that-
there's extenuating
but still, fuck
circumstances,
those
too.
guys. No, I'm just joking.
No, I mean, there's extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, fuck
Maybe
those
you're
guys.
in big
They're gonna
debt.
laugh at you on their way to the
Yeah,
bank.
they don't give a shit. Ooh, the Hoppy Craftsmen don't like us.
I don't think they're going to get
As,
shit. Right?
as they're sitting
When
on
they-
their yachts, fucking drinking
Yeah, they don't
whatever
give a
they
shit.
want.
But no, I mean, like I
Shout out
said,
to Andy Ingram.
yeah, it's hard.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, my brewery is not a target for anyone. I mean, Weedy's brewery is not a target for anyone. We just want to make good beer.
I don't know about that.
Yet.
I don't know about the
Yet.
weedy part, especially.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, I honestly I don't even bring it up anymore because I feel like I beat that.
We've all
I
beat that
beat
fucking
that
horse.
door stick.
So that's actually the funny thing. Earlier, I got passed over on the conversation about collaborations. We're doing a collaboration with Ballast Point.
Passed over. First of all, let's stop there.
Let's be honest here. I got passed over on the collaboration.
And internally he was like,
Holy
yes.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
fine. Don't talk to me, motherfuckers. That's fine.
Well,
You
fuck
doing
you guys.
You guys doing a collab with Ballast Point?
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah,
And how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it.
Good.
But I think that's
It's about the people.
that's the thing. Is
about
like
the people.
a lot of people are gonna say like Tombstone. Can't believe they're going out for Ballast Points.
Yeah, and then they'll
You know what?
they'll eat up every single can that lands
Is
in
it-
Phoenix.
is it
I
gonna-
wouldn't worry
When I
about
was
that.
at GABF, I was in front. I was right behind the Ballast Point chicks.
Oh.
The Ballast Point girls are gorgeous.
Yeah, that AB InBev money is well
Well,
spent.
they're different. They're Constellation.
Okay.
Constellation.
All
Constellation, man,
right.
Constellation. So is it going to be a Sculpin double dank fruit?
No,
IPA?
that was actually what I proposed was something
Yes!
similar. I proposed we do our malts, their hops, our yeast. And I think we're going to do some type of barrel-aged beer. We haven't actually finalized it yet, but yeah,
Nice.
we should be doing that in the next month or so.
How does a big collab with a big multi-million-dollar company like that come into play?
You know,
billion
again-
dollar. Sorry.
And again, and I'm
Billion
sure
dollar
the-
company.
The
Billion
people,
dollar
I'm sure.
I'm not actually really sure how it happened, to be honest.
Probably over beers. That's how it always happens.
I know that Dan, he's our Arizona sales rep for Ballast Point. He's
okay.
He was a fan of ours, and I think he pitched the idea to their brewer, and
wow.
I think that it just kind of snowballed from there.
If I
I'm
was-
excited about it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool.
I'm actually.
Oh, yeah.
What I hope that we have the opportunity to go and brew a beer there, because I always feel like you can learn something from every brewery. I've never
Totally.
the only commercial size system I've ever brewed on was a 15 barrel system. I'd love to go and see like their 150 or 200 whatever size system it is, and actually learn how they do things there. I feel like there's a lot to be learned from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for
Well, I mean,
sure.
said the same thing.
you know, Ballast Point, been, you know,
John, you're hired.
yeah, you're hired.
Although I'm pretty sure you'll replace me at this point.
Yes.
So.
And then I'm not here to take your job.
So like you say, Ballast Point was like 20 some odd years, right? So I mean, at that point, and we talked about before, it's like,
Hey,
how can you be sad? How can you be mad at that person? You put
We
20 years
visited
of
them.
hard goddamn work in.
we visited Ballast
for you,
Point.
man.
Before they were sold, we visited and
Yeah, I've been
enjoyed.
to Ballast
and-
Point. Their beers in the
Yeah.
past
Took
it's
the
still
tour.
good. It's still great.
Well, and so many breweries that started in the 90s, they'll tell you it's like they made no money for years.
Yeah.
They're still not making money. So it's like you have the opportunity to finally make money after you put 20 years of your heart and soul into it.
How could you
It's,
ever?
it's kind of different now.
Yeah,
there's,
you can't
there's,
turn people down like
you
that.
You can actually make money now staying small, and
True.
And now it's possible to do that, but it wasn't. And,
At the time.
and with their business models, it never really became possible. So they saw the opportunity. You can't really blame those people for taking it.
no.
No.
Now,
I think that's
now-
always the point we try to go.
well, and now it's like you can stay small and you can earn your living and you can live comfortably with what you got. But even still, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of time. It takes actually a decent investment.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's possible, but it was not always possible for the people that have sold out. You really can't blame them.
Right. No, not
I
at all.
I refuse to. I just like to blame the people who get miffed about it, who get miffed about being annoyed about it. You know what I mean? People.
But there's always people that want to get upset about something.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot on the show, and again, I don't hold any ill will towards Four Peaks, Ballast Point, and any of the places that sold out.
Well, what
if
Four
someone
Peaks started in like 1996 or so.
Right. Yeah. They
How much money could you make in the craft brewing world from 1996 to 2012?
exactly, and I'm not
as
like
a restaurant, they cleaned up.
I'm not like a Four Peaks hater, but they're making money. So my big thing is like, okay, Four Peaks, good for you, that's awesome. But guys like Wilderness, Tombstone, Pueblo Vita, now they need my money more than you guys do.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are doing fine. Your distribution.
Yeah, I'm not trying to turn customers away, but we can make money at this size. That was not a possibility many
No.
years
Oh
ago.
yeah,
Right,
selling the beer
exactly.
through your taps
Yeah.
makes money.
I mean, I'm not turning you away. We need your money.
Per Weedy, Tombstone is set. Go to Four Peaks.
No. That is not at all what I said.
That will be the quote of this show, in case you're wondering.
Honestly, I
Matt's gonna be calling like, "What the fuck did you say?"
He's like, I was like 10 beers in.
I really
I mean,
hope
man,
Blue Pencil take me back.
I mean, I come from it as they are not brewing Four Peaks beer at Four Peaks right now. I mean, we've known that. We've known that. We've heard that ever since they've been sold out. They're brewing different beers in there all the time.
Well, it's
different
juggling throughout the whole AB InBev
exactly.
machine now. Yeah,
And I just find that to be bullshit. And
like,
that's
we'll
just
brew the Golden Road
does-
here.
does the beer
we'll brew
actually-
this there? We'll brew that there.
Does the beer actually taste any different now? I never actually had.
I don't know. I haven't had
beer.
a Four Peaks beer in probably 4 or 5 years.
Well, and that's the
I
thing is,
flat out
because to
fucking
be honest,
refuse,
I'll be
living-
honest.
They're only known for the kilt lifter.
That and the pumpkin
Bisbee,
porter.
Sorry.
living in Bisbee, we don't
Couldn't
really
resist.
see a whole lot of craft beer coming into Bisbee. So
not
Yeah.
so much.
one of the only options we have is Kilt Lifter. And I find it to be perfectly fine for what it is.
Absolutely, and I could, and as a person who enjoys beer, I could never disagree with you. My only issues with Four Peaks are strictly as how they run their business, and that's just my opinion as a beer a beer enthusiast, and I guess I'm an elitist or whatever, a douchebag in that sense.
You are a douchebag.
But I fucking
D-bag.
don't like Four Peaks. Haven't had them for years. And
See,
I
I don't know
won't.
much about them.
I actually
won't.
feel like the true elitist will be like, a good brewery will find a way to survive no matter what.
That's true.
That's nature.
that hurt a little, but no, I agree. I totally, I do agree. I just, I that is one time where my opinion wins.
The cards are stacked against us, but I still think it's possible.
Absolutely.
I think it's working for a lot of us.
Have you you've seen
totally.
the Budweiser reports, right? Not many people are buying the Budweiser product now, so it's kind of falling apart.
I did a
that helps
lecture
us.
actually at a high school.
Couldn't be any happier to
in
see that.
2014. I did a lecture at a high school, and it was all about how beer is made, and it was like biochemistry of beer. So it was not like teaching 14-year-olds how to make beer,
Right.
PBR rules, bro.
So I got to the point where I was like, I'm ready for questions, and these
you make
kids,
Smirnoff?
these kids are like all about being sarcastic about how much Anheuser-Busch sucks, and it's like,
Really?
that is the future.
love it.
I love it.
Those
Yeah.
are the future kids
No
in America.
shit.
They know. I mean,
That's
they
funny.
They know it's shit. And,
Yeah.
I
mean,
think
Anheuser-Busch is in trouble. No matter how many people they buy out, they're in trouble.
right, they're in trouble.
That's
Product
why
sucks.
that's why they want to. I forget. We were listening to the San Diego Beer Talk, and I think they said they bought about 7% of the craft beer.
Right.
Between 6 and 7% of the craft beer. Just the pie,
Right.
They bought all that last year, and that's
Well,
that's a
they're gonna
lot.
keep buying what they can, right?
And that's not even
That's
talking
a
about
lot.
that's not talking about like Constellation. That's not talking about like third party like investors, like how like the brewery has. It's not some of the people at all. It's literally Anheuser-Busch bought that much freaking people.
That's a lot of.
That's a lot.
That's a big.
And
That's a huge chunk.
That's a
high-end,
big
man.
chunk to pick up, and that's
they
money
own
they're getting
10
back. but-
10 or so large craft breweries.
Yeah. Well,
that's
then
a
Miller
lot.
Miller Coors did what in like another 2 or 3%.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
and they're Miller Saab now or Miller whoever I don't think they are, but they still are owned by fucking Anheuser-Busch. So it's like what are you
I
gonna
think they
do?
divested some of that.
Right?
Did they?
Yeah.
But you go to a people that are. And it's funny we talked about this with Chase too. Is that you go to like a Bevmo or a liquor store or whatever, and you look at the shelves, and you're like, who? I even know fucking who's bought who now. At some point, you're
It's
like, you
tough
get
to keep up.
confused. It's
Yeah.
tough to keep up, so it's a little tough. I mean,
Best bet you probably can't you probably can't buy anything super local at a grocery store.
right, and that's probably your best.
What
bet.
can you think of at an Arizona grocery store right now besides probably Borderlands at a really good spot?
Huss,
Santan.
Us.
Santan,
All right, fine, fuck you guys. But
Jesus, boom. But I mean, that's the thing is
but
that
there's
it's,
not that many. And
Right.
Not a
That's
whole
also
lot, yeah.
different by state. It's like
Yes,
like in
absolutely.
Alabama, it's like you're gonna find almost entirely local stuff at Publix, Kroger.
Yeah,
Right.
same with
And
New
true,
Mexico. We get
absolutely.
there's no, New Mexico is independent craft beer.
That's
There's
awesome.
nobody owned by anyone in New
The
Mexico.
problem that
other
we
than
ran into in
private.
Alabama, at least, was the distributor sucked.
Yes.
So you end up seeing 6-month-old beer on the shelves. Of those
That's not
places.
cool.
that's not fucking cool at
Yeah,
all.
6-month-old IPA should not be on a shelf.
No.
Yeah, let's. I don't want.
Man. Well, and that's
1 month.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is tough.
IPA, yeah, IPA should not be
3 days.
3 days.
They still have some of these cans are coming out. You're like,
We-
7
Weedy
days
has a
This
really
sucks.
good problem.
A week's-
People buy his
yeah,
beer
yeah,
in 3 days.
Weedy does have a good problem.
I mean, that's the thing is you go to like you go to a bar or whatever, and you see the tap handles, and you think it's like 5 different breweries because they all have different names on them. They're not. They're literally owned all by the same people. So it's a little tough for the general consumer who goes, "Oh, I don't want to buy this." You're like, "Yeah, too bad you are still buying that, even though you're buying fucking
I don't know if
Lagunitas
the
or
general
whoever."
consumer cares as much as we do.
Right.
Either, right? Because
They
we're,
care.
True.
we're craft beer geeks.
True.
I mean, that's our thing.
I like to
you
think
know,
it's becoming wider range, though.
I like
I
to
would
think
hope.
that too.
I like to think that people aren't just, choosing beer because, well, a beer nerd. I think it's more so. I don't think so. I hope that people are really trying to brew locally produced items. I mean, people are putting that effort into supporting their area.
And
I
as,
think that's definitely true.
I say people like to shit on millennials a lot, but I think that's what millennials are all about too. For really, really, what it comes down to is they want stuff that is
Fuck millennials.
I know, right? It's I feel that same way too. But it's one of those things
Whatever,
where,
Weedy.
but
27.
they
Head
really
brewer,
do
Tombstone.
value things that are made and actually are crafted.
I think that's
and-
important.
and-
That's the
they
best
really
thing
do.
millennials bring to the table.
Yes, 100%. That is the truth. That is the best thing they bring to the table.
You understand where I'm coming
Yes.
from.
They want
Yes,
to.
thank you. Thank
they
you, John.
want to shop local. They want to own as
Right.
they want to own and invest as locally as possible.
That's
But, you know,
important.
you know,
And
that's
I
it's
feel
actually
that.
become a problem for a lot of breweries a lot of breweries that like opened between like maybe 2008 and 2013, 2014.
Not set up to
It's
serve.
like they were planning on growing. They wanted to be big breweries. In 2011, when I started brewing at Blue Pants, I remember hearing on NPR that we just had our 2000th brewery in the United States. We're at 5,000 breweries in the United
5,000.
States.
Over 5,000 now.
Over that. That's
Yeah.
insane.
So now it's like a brewery at that time to get to a 15,000 barrel a year production or 20,000 barrel. Yeah, that was nothing. It was like, that's your 5-year goal.
yeah.
Now those breweries that opened at that time,
Dank word.
they're in 5 years, they're like, shit, how do I sell more than 6,000 barrels?
Right.
Because you don't get outside of your local market because you're competing with local breweries in that market.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So speaking of which, what do you guys? I'm sorry, we made a cover of this. What do you guys brew on, and what is your total fermentable, barrels that you make a year? Like, what do you guys? Let's get some really geeky numbers in here. We're talking about
Okay.
beer geeks. Let's go into that kind of stuff.
So let me back up a little bit because when we opened, our business plan called for contract brewing. We were going to contract wort. A lot of sour breweries do this. Like
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
Rare Barrel does this. I'm sure there's more. That's the one that sticks in my mind. But you can go to a 30 barrel brewery like Santa Fe Brewing is a 30 barrel brew house. I can get 30 barrels of wort and bring it back to my place, ferment it with my culture, do whatever I want with it. And that was my original plan. But I found, and I was telling Weedy about this today, there was a brewery in Albuquerque called Canteen Brew House. And they used to be called Il Vicino. They changed their name to Canteen. They've been around a long time. They're an older, well-established brewery. They upgraded to a 15-barrel brew house. They had a 7-barrel brew house, old-fashioned Century Brew Works from Cincinnati. Old-fashioned, thick-walled stainless steel, and it was just sitting there gathering dust. They're like, hey, first guy, to take it out of here, we paid $19,000 for it. I mean, we got a screamy deal.
Jeez.
Got it out, and we've been brewing with that ever since. And for a startup brewery,
Yeah.
Right.
that was
Can't complain.
can't complain. We couldn't have afforded with that stupid kitchen we had to buy.
Exactly. Hey, a restaurant.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
A restaurant's $1 million.
No, a restaurant's expensive.
Yeah.
With that, we had to make some choices, and that we lucked out. We lucked out big time. We got a solid brew house. It works great. It's old school. It's all manual.
That's awesome, though.
There's no
There's the
automation
character.
at all. Yeah, and it's fun. It's almost like home brewing on a larger scale.
Right.
So we enjoy it, and it's built to last. It's a nice system. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not going to run out. It's not going to fall apart. It's thick wall American made stainless.
Very cool.
So that's what we got.
Excellent.
Awesome.
For us, we've got a 15-barrel brew house. We've got 3 15-barrel fermenters. So what I try to do is I try to go in and fill every tank in one day. We use our tanks as unit tanks, so we're not transferring the beers out of them. So I can fill all the tanks in one day. I can basically keep the same fermentation schedule, conditioning schedule, and then packaging schedule. We package straight out of our fermenters. So we can do about 1,100 barrels a year on our with our 45 barrels of fermentation space. But what we've done is we don't really intend to grow much of our stainless fermentation stuff. We've got these shipping containers back behind us. Listeners can't see.
There's 2 gigantic shipping containers behind us.
Yeah, 40-foot shipping containers. We can fit a little over 100 barrels into each one.
You got to say they're refrigerated too. That's
Yeah, I was
important.
going to say.
They're refrigerated,
Yeah.
climate controlled, so we can take them all the way down to negative 35 degrees Fahrenheit if we wanted to.
Holy Shit. Wow. That's
You
surprising.
can freeze some people in there.
Yeah.
No shit.
So,
you want to
uh,
store some
kidding.
dead bodies? All right, come to Tombstone
That's
Brewing
where
Company.
that's where you stack the bodies.
That's
Yeah,
where
so
you
one
start
of them's for clean beers. We should be buying buying 20 new toasted oak barrels every 3 months, and we'll be running your kind of standard beers through those porters and stouts, and then some of those will be canned. Some of those barrels will be transferred into bourbon barrels or spirit barrels.
Nice.
And then we have the Brett and Sour container that should get us up another maybe 600 barrels a year. So we never want to get beyond the 3,000 barrel a year mark. And I think we're going to be on track for that as early as 2019. Wow. 2018, we're probably going to be somewhere around 2,000 barrels.
Nice.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. What's the next can release at Tombstone?
Yeah, Wilderness. I heard that.
I know. Shut up, dude.
Whoops, you have to edit that one out.
Shush.
And I could have edited that, but
like,
not anymore.
Not
No way.
anymore,
Not
you
anymore.
motherfuckers.
I heard it. He said Wilderness.
Just to put it one more time,
Weedy,
he said wilderness.
Do you like Wilderness? Oh, wait.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
What's the next canning here at Tombstone?
The canning is we've got our Citra IPA, more hops and most hops all coming out next week, and then after that we've got our Pilsner. We've got hops
I
are
saw
my co-pilot.
2 stacks of cans out back there.
Yeah. So we have
the
a lot
hops
more
are-
than that coming in. Hops are my co-pilot.
So good.
That one's coming
We
back.
had that at ground control.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
That was super good.
Yep. So that's coming back. We've got some type of other double. Spawn of Earth double IPA.
Some other IPA.
The most hoppiest IPAs.
One other.
Yeah.
Double IPA, and then the next can release after that, we're doing 2 IPAs side by side. One's going to be fermented with Norwegian yeast, and that's going to feature Grungheist and Hallertau Blanc hops. So it should be like a really strong Riesling character. The exact same recipe will be brewed with a different yeast strain using our London Ale 3 yeast from Imperial Organic Yeast Lab. And that one will be more like what you expect from Tombstone, being the hazy style. And then I think that same week we're doing, I don't know, we've got another IPA coming out that week.
That's some more IPAs.
Some
Per
IPAs.
Weedy, more IPAs. They're incoming.
Well, speaking of which, and we just opened another IPA, right? Where'd that
Did we?
Where'd that can go? Yeah.
Dankworth, is that what that is?
This is the
Yeah, that's
Dankworth.
from the rent house. They did that with Wakatu or whatever. How are you guys? How would you pronounce that, John?
I would say Wakatu, yeah.
All right, good. I didn't sound like a complete asshole. Perfect.
Well, it's tough because we have a
Sounds like a character out of the Lion King.
we have a guy
Dankworth
in-
with Wakatu by Tombstone Brewing Company.
Weedy's not going to let me live it down.
Thanks, Nate. You fucked us.
Just for any of our confused listeners, it is Dankworth from Rent House in Phoenix. Sorry, John. Go right ahead.
No, we have a Kiwi guy in New Mexico.
Everybody needs a Kiwi.
Yeah, everyone
guy.
needs their Kiwi.
Everybody needs a Kiwi guy.
And he's like when we first told him we were brewing a beer with the Motueka hops. He's like, that's not how it's pronounced. It's Moshweka.
Oh, really?
Like, what the fuck did you just say?
We've been saying it really wrong then.
yeah.
We're not reading that right. He's like, Moshweka.
No
Like,
kidding.
okay, yeah, I don't get that. Sorry,
Yeah.
Motueka.
Motueka. Okay. All right.
So I mean,
nice.
you don't know how it's pronounced.
Dude,
We was
said
in Montuca.
Motueka.
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 That's a great hop, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Big-
great.
Yeah, I got a
fan.
pound of it sitting in my fridge.
Big fan.
I'm excited.
That's
about it.
awesome.
Yes.
All right, guys. So, where can people follow your breweries on social media if they actually want to follow along to you guys?
And they should.
And they should.
All
They
of
totally
them
should.
should.
Yes. So, John.
Even
So
if Weedy did
for-
give me a bunch of shit because I have a hard time apparently explaining where the fuck I am.
Nice.
We're in Tucson. Oh,
Yes,
wait.
yeah.
We're in Tucson. No,
About
we're
an
not.
hour outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over an hour.
Yeah. So where can we find you, John?
My suggestion, New Mexico is big into Facebook.
Yes.
We do a lot on Facebook. We also have an Instagram feed, which I do personally.
Perfect.
We have a Twitter feed, which one of our partners' wives does.
Nice.
She's a little more conservative than I am, I think. Let's put it that way.
Perfect for Twitter.
So
I don't do Twitter. I have to talk.
yeah, right.
Right.
I have to type. So that's why
I need more characters.
I do like a bi-weekly kind of update on Facebook. Like
Nice.
I explain what we're doing in the brewery, what's going on, and I don't hold back with shorthand. I mean, I actually type it out, and it's not TLDR. friendly.
There's no TLDR on that
No
one.
TLDR on Facebook. Instagram is shorter, of course, but that's more about the visual images.
Right.
Right.
Rowley Farmhouse Ales on all of them, or is it?
I think for the Instagram, it's Rowley Farmhouse.
Okay.
I think it's Rowley Farmhouse Ales on Facebook, and I think on Twitter, Rowley Farmhouse Ales. Also.
Cool. And we'll I'm sure we'll find him, and we'll
Yeah, it's pretty
we'll
easy.
link him, I guess, in the show notes of this thing anyway. So
It's pretty easy to find.
Weedy, we're same thing, kind of. Tombstone?
We've got our website, tombstone.beer. There's no www, no .com. It's just tombstone.beer. From there, you can find links to Matt's blog, my blog, and then we've also got our Facebook account, tombstonebrewingcompany.com. I'll also invite you to go to xvideos.com, type in Tombstone Beer, and see what happens.
Nice.
You're
All
woke,
right.
listeners. Very cool. Nate, where can people find us on social media?
Hit us up at Hoppy Craftsmen on Instagram and the same for Facebook as well.
And-
We're not on Twitter because
No, we are on Twitter.
You
God
are
damn it.
TLDR.
oh, we are on Twitter. I don't run Twitter.
And this
I,
conservative lady named Chris is on fucking
yeah,
Twitter.
all right. Chris runs Twitter.
Yeah, I run Twitter.
Chris runs Twitter.
But I don't do it much. It's mostly Instagram shit.
Yeah, nobody
But
does Twitter.
we're on there as well. We're also on Facebook, right? And
Yes,
then
as well as at Hoppy Craftsmen.
and then hoppycraftsmanpodcast.com.
Yep.
Jeff, who are the fucking raddest motherfuckers in the world?
Raddest motherfuckers in the world are our Patreons. First is Cena Gomez. Second is San Diego Beer Talk Radio, Mark Ballesteros. And we have a new Patreon that for the life of me I cannot find.
I will say his name. His name is Javier Gonzalez.
Javier Gonzalez, thank you for being a patron.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything you do. Everything you guys donate to us goes towards more awesome episodes like this.
Like
Right.
this one. And
Yeah.
this was a good one, guys. Really appreciate you having us here.
Live from Tombstone.
Well, thank you guys. for
Live
having
from
us.
Tucson.
Right,
Appreciate it.
Live from Tombstone, not Tucson. Live from Tombstone. Genuinely.
If you guys want to be a patron supporter as well, please go to patreon.com/hoppycraftsmen. We have actually a couple different tiers you can help support us at. And again, like Jeff said, make shows like this happen and help us keep doing what we're doing. So
If you
Gas
like our
money.
shows, we're on YouTube. Please subscribe, like our posts. Go to iTunes. Please subscribe, like our posts, leave a review. Anything you can do. Again,
tell a friend, man.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
we're not
Tell a
asking
friend.
anyone to BS anything, but if you like the show, by all means, do us a solid. Leave us a review. YouTube, iTunes, anywhere you go, anywhere you
Reviews
choose
are great.
to listen.
They go a long way.
That's
They
all
are.
about, so.
Thank you again, both the Tombstone Brewing Company and Rowley Farmhouse Ales, because honestly, we've had some awesome beer tonight from both breweries. So genuinely, thank you very much for having us down here, guys.
Thank you guys for having
thanks-
us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. It's been a great time.
All right, guys. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Nate.
Thank you so much for listening.
Cheers.
Weedy.